Chapter 481. Wang Lin looked at the woman and calmly asked, "Why?" The killing intent on the woman's face became even stronger as she coldly said, "There is no why. You can live anywhere, but not here." Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked at the purple cloud pavilion behind the woman. After pondering for a bit, he took a few steps back, sat down in the lotus position, and closed his eyes to cultivate. Wang Lin didn't want to cause any trouble since it was his first time on planet Tianyun. There was no need to create a feud with someone over a place to live. Also, the situation here was a bit complicated. Wang Lin secretly thought that all of this probably had a lot to do with the purple cloud pavilion. When the woman saw Wang Lin sit down, she frowned and coldly said, "Not here either. You're not allowed to take half a step within 50 kilometers of the purple cloud pavilion. Leave now." Wang Lin suddenly raised his head and a hint of killing intent appeared in his eyes as he stared at the woman. This woman was at the early stage of soul transformation, so Wang Lin didn't consider her a threat at all. The woman didn't even look around. She also stared at Wang Lin. Shortly after, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze, stood up, and walked into the distance. It wasn't until his figure disappeared from the woman's sight that the wind blew by that woman. She suddenly noticed that her back was soaked in sweat. She bit her lower lip and slowly walked out of the purple cloud pavilion. She sat at the side and stared blankly at the sky. She said softly, she whispered, "Senior brother Sun Yun, as long as junior sister is here, I won't allow anyone to replace you. No one." On a beautiful cliff 50 kilometers away from the purple cloud pavilion, Wang Lin waved his right hand and a ray of sword energy flew out from his bag of holding. It stabbed into the cliff like lightning and soon, a cave was formed. Wang Lin put away the flying sword and walked in. After placing down a few restrictions, he sat down in the lotus position and let out a deep breath. He was deep in thought. The atmosphere in this heavenly fate sect is not quite right. I did not completely clear the first 3 stages, but that Zhao Xing addressed me as junior brother. Furthermore, he said that Tian Yunzi arranged for me to stay in the purple cloud pavilion. Right now, there are people guarding the purple cloud pavilion, not allowing anyone to get close. All of this is shrouded in fog, and I can't see clearly. I need to think of a way to find out about the past, especially the story of the purple cloud pavilion. Late at night, the Heavenly Fate School's purple division was completely silent. Aside from a few disciples guarding the mountain, most of the people were meditating. Wang Lin opened his eyes in the darkness. His body flickered as he walked out from the cave he had created. His eyes flickered as he scanned his surroundings. With a stomp of his foot, he turned into a plume of black smoke and disappeared without a trace. The purple cloud pavilion was like a slumbering, desolate beast, standing quietly in the distance. At this moment, a strand of black smoke entered the purple cloud pavilion. The purple cloud pavilion had a total of 3 floors. Wang Lin's figure appeared on the first floor. The decorations in the surroundings were very simple, but they did not look ordinary. Instead, they gave off a refreshing feeling. After looking around, Wang Lin walked up to the second floor. There was a bed and a few cushions there. There was a landscape painting hanging on the wall, and there was an ancient sword beside the painting. All of this was very ordinary. There was nothing out of the ordinary about it. The third floor was a secret room. It was clearly a place to meditate and cultivate. The roof was made of an unknown material to Wang Lin. When he looked up, there did not seem to be anything obstructing him. He could see the starry sky with a glance. Wang Lin couldn't find any clues inside or outside of this place. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, Wang Lin had already stayed in the Heavenly Fate School's purple division for half a month. During this half a month, no one came to find him. Even the ordinary disciples would have strange expressions when they saw Wang Lin. They would quickly leave as if he was a god of plague. Tian Yunzi also did not summon him, as if he had forgotten about him. No one came within 5 kilometers of the cave that Xiao Chun made. It was like they could not wait to avoid him. In this half a month, no one said a word to Wang Lin. Zhao Xing also seemed to have disappeared, never appearing again. Only the purple cloud pavilion remained. Every time the sun rose, the purple-clad girl would go there and stare blankly at the pavilion. She would stare at it for an entire day. In the past half a month, she did not stop. If this continued, then Wang Lin wouldn't mind cultivating here without anyone disturbing him. However, on the afternoon of the 17th day, Wang Lin was sitting in a lotus position in the cave when he suddenly frowned. He opened his eyes and looked outside the cave. Outside the cave, two rays of light flew in from the sky. After circling around the cave for a while, they landed not far away and revealed themselves to be two old men wearing faint purple robes. One of them was fat and the other was skinny. Both of them had cold expressions as they looked at the cave that Wang Lin was in. One of them shouted, "Which disciple dares to open a cave here without the permission of an elder? Get the hell out here." Wang Lin's figure walked out from the cave. His expression was gloomy as he looked at the two old men. Both of them were at the early stage of soul transformation. The old man's eyes lit up and he coldly said, "Who gave you permission to open a cave here? You have the time it takes for an incense stick to burn to destroy this cave. Otherwise, you will be punished according to the sect rules." Wang Lin's expression became even calmer as he asked, "Who are the two of you?" The old man, who hadn't spoken until now, calmly said, "The enforcement elder of the purple sect." Wang Lin's right hand slapped the air behind him. With a loud rumble, the cave that he had lived in for half a month suddenly collapsed, causing a gray wave to spread out. Wang Lin's figure was faintly discernible within the gray wave, but his gaze was even calmer. "Although the cave has been destroyed, you have already broken the sect rules. Come with us to the main hall. There will naturally be people who will convict you." The old man, who had been aggressive before, sneered. Wang Lin took a deep breath, looked at the two of them, and calmly said, "Wang originally wanted to find a peaceful place to cultivate and didn't want to get involved in this fight. However, ever since I came here, I have always been rejected. Forget it." As he spoke, he took a step forward and slapped his bag of holding. In the blink of an eye, the soul lasher appeared in his hand. Wang Lin threw it out like a dragon. The expressions of the two old men immediately changed, and they quickly retreated. They chanted a curse, and their hands formed a seal. Suddenly, a black and a white ray of light came out from their bodies. One of the old men immediately shouted, "How dare you attack the enforcement elder?" However, the soul lasher was extremely fast. As the afterimage flashed by, the expression of the old man who spoke changed greatly. His body trembled, and with a crisp snap, he was forced back once more. He coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his origin soul was pulled 3 feet out of his body. The soul lasher specialized in attacking the origin soul. His expression was one of unimaginable horror. His origin soul struggled to return to his body, but Wang Lin wouldn't give him the chance. Wang Lin's right index finger formed an arc in the air. There was a flash of red light, and the arc of lightning flew out toward the old man's origin soul. The old man's expression was ugly. He opened his mouth and spat out a mist to block the arc of lightning. The other elder's face suddenly turned pale. Without a word, he waved his hand and slapped his bag of holding. A purple sword appeared in his hand. He pointed the sword at Wang Lin and shouted, "Wang Lin, you're not going to fight me." 7 stars shattering. As soon as he finished speaking, the purple flying sword shook and broke into 7 pieces. The pieces flew toward Wang Lin with the force of 1,000 kilograms. Wang Lin suddenly turned around. His eyes flashed red, and a monstrous killing intent rushed out from his body. What kind of gaze is this? What kind of monster did I provoke? When the old man saw the killing intent in Wang Lin's eyes, his heart couldn't help but tremble. Just at this moment, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding, and the celestial sword appeared faster than lightning. Following the celestial sword was the half-moon blade that even Wang Lin was afraid of. Bursts of rumbling echoed. The 7 pieces of the flying sword didn't even get close to the celestial sword before they all exploded. Suligwa's crazy laughter came out from the celestial sword. The old man didn't say a word as he turned around and fled. He had clearly seen that the reason Wang Wei's flying sword had shattered wasn't because of the celestial sword, but because of the curved blade behind the celestial sword. In the blink of an eye, the curved blade flew back and forth 7 times. Each time, it accurately struck a broken blade, causing all 7 pieces of the flying sword to shatter. However, the speed was too fast, so it looked like all 7 pieces of the flying sword had shattered at the same time. As a result, how could the old man not be shocked? He cursed in his heart. He shouldn't have listened to Zhao Xingsha's words, but it was too late for regrets. Wang Lin didn't even look at the old man. With one step, he arrived next to the person who had his origin soul knocked out. This person's origin soul was fighting against the arcs of lightning. When he noticed Wang Lin's arrival, he let out a scream and was about to escape. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He waved his right hand, and the restriction flag appeared in his hand. Countless restrictions formed an inescapable net that fell from the sky and completely sealed off the origin soul's path of retreat. At the same time, his right hand reached out and he shouted, "Come back!" The origin soul felt a powerful force coming from behind him. At this moment, he was surrounded by restrictions. He needed time to break them, and although it wouldn't take long, it was a life and death situation. He clenched his teeth, turned around, and screamed, "I'm the enforcement elder. If you kill me, even if you are the ancestor's disciple, you will be punished by the sect. It looks like you know who I am." Wang Lin sneered and reached out with his right hand. The origin soul let out a miserable groan and was pulled back. At the same time, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and a bell flew out. The bell grew to 30 feet wide, and Wang Lin threw the origin soul at the bell. The bell caught the origin soul and pressed it to the ground. "Refine," Wang Lin said coldly before turning around and looking into the distance. There, the other old man quickly retreated with a bitter expression. He stood 100 feet away from Wang Lin and didn't dare to move. The half-moon blade kept flashing in front of him, and Su Ligua's arrogant roar came from the celestial sword. "Grandson, stand still for your grandpa. If you dare to move, I'll cut off a piece of meat for you." Wang Lin calmly looked at the old man and slowly said, "Since this place doesn't need a quiet Wang, then I'll show off a bit and be a domineering person. Now, tell me who lived in the Purple Cloud Pavilion." Chapter 482. The old man's face was pale. He didn't expect that the cultivator in front of him, who he thought was a native from an abandoned planet, would be able to easily capture and refine the 2 early-stage nascent soul law enforcers without batting an eyelid. This kind of spell could only be done by a mid-stage soul transformation cultivator. A rare feeling of regret appeared in his heart. If he knew this was going to happen, he wouldn't have listened to Zhao Xingsha and ended up like this. At this moment, not far away from the old man, the origin soul of his companion, who was trapped by the bell, began to let out miserable cries. It was clear he was enduring the pain of being refined. When this sound entered the old man's ears, he let out a sigh and gave up all resistance. He looked at Wang Lin with a complicated expression and said, "Let him out first. This matter was caused by the 2 of us being reckless. I'll tell you everything you want to know." Wang Lin remained unmoved and coldly stared at this person. The elder had a bitter look on his face. He glanced at the scimitar that kept flickering in front of him and said, "The primogenitive venerable lord took in 7 disciples in his life, and there were 7 people in each of them, but only one of them was a real disciple. Although the others were also disciples, they couldn't obtain the primogenitor's teachings. The 7 people of the 7 divisions are called the true disciples of the All-Seer." Wang Lin didn't say a word and calmly listened. He stood there like a pine tree and gave off a sense of pride. The current him was completely different from when he first arrived at the Heavenly Fate sect. A genius appeared in the Purple Division 1,000 years ago. This person eventually became the #1 person in the Purple Division and replaced the 6th Elder to become one of the true disciples of the All-Seer. His name was Sun Yun, and the place he lived in was called the Purple Cloud Pavilion. Wang Lin's eyes became serious, and he calmly said, "What does this have to do with me?" Originally, it had nothing to do with him, but 100 years ago, this Sun Yun betrayed the sect for some unknown reason. Although this was the case, the ancestor didn't send anyone to kill him. Instead, he personally went out and returned 1 month later. He ordered the Purple Cloud Pavilion to be sealed and said that the next master of the Purple Cloud Pavilion would be one of the true disciples of the All-Seer. When the old man got to this point, he paused for a moment and looked at Wang Lin with a complicated expression. He then said, "There are a total of 7 disciples in the Purple Division, including you. 6 of them grew up on planet Tianyun, and only you came from an abandoned cultivation planet. Even in the eyes of ordinary disciples, you are a native cultivator with a low status. If it wasn't for the ancestor letting you live in the Purple Cloud Pavilion, this matter would have been resolved a bit, but now it is natural that they would reject you. Besides, you just arrived and your cultivation level isn't high, so it is natural for your fellow disciples to not see you. Although they can't act directly because of the ancestor to let you live in the Purple Cloud Pavilion. I've said everything I need to say. Today, the 2 of us provoked you, and it is our fault. From now on, the 2 of us will not participate in the competition between you 2 brothers." As the old man spoke, his gaze swept past the half-moon blade that was still emitting a cold light. He dreaded this half-moon blade a lot. A flash of coldness appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. So this was the reason for all of this. He waved his right hand, and the celestial sword returned to Wang Lin's side. Su Ligua called out to the half-moon blade to let go of the old man and followed the celestial sword. The old man let out a sigh of relief and looked at the giant bell. The miserable screams of his companion's origin soul were very faint. He hesitated for a bit and said, Wang Lin waved his right hand, and the bell immediately flew into his hand. He flicked it and the bell immediately shrank. A ray of green light flew out and was about to escape when Wang Lin grabbed it with his left hand. A shriek came from the green light. "I'm a law enforcer." Before the person finished speaking, Wang Lin squeezed his right hand and the green light collapsed, revealing an extremely weak origin soul. Without even looking at it, Wang Lin threw the origin soul into his mouth and swallowed it. The moment the origin soul entered Wang Lin's mouth, a powerful suction force pulled it into the 1 billion soul flag. After doing all of this, Wang Lin looked at the old man and calmly said, "You don't want to leave?" The old man stared at Wang Lin's left hand in a daze. He didn't think that this person would dare to violate the sect's rules and swallow an origin soul in front of him. This kind of behavior was completely demonic. His mind was shaken, and he took a few steps back. He forced a smile and said, "I'll leave right now. I don't know anything about what happened today. I'll leave right now." As he spoke, his body moved backward, and he used all of his cultivation to escape like crazy. A cold light flashed in Wang Lin's eyes, and he softly said, "Kill him." Su Ligua let out a cheer on the celestial sword. The celestial sword immediately turned into lightning, but the half-moon blade was even faster. In a flash, it disappeared without a trace. A miserable groan came from the horizon. In the blink of an eye, the half-moon blade flew back. Wang Lin's right hand reached out and grabbed the old man's origin soul from the half-moon blade. The old man was about to scream, but it was too late. Wang Lin directly threw the origin soul into his mouth and imprisoned it inside the 1 billion soul flag. After doing all of this, not only did the cold light in Wang Lin's eyes not decrease, it actually increased. He turned around and flew toward the Purple Cloud Pavilion. Tian Yunzi arranged for me to stay in the Purple Cloud Pavilion, so he must have calculated all of this. Since that's the case, I'll turn the world upside down and let the people of the Purple School know that I, Wang Lin, am not someone to be bullied. He flew all the way until he arrived outside the Purple Cloud Pavilion. The woman in purple was currently sitting inside the pavilion, touching the landscape painting on the wall. Her eyes revealed a look of reminiscence. After sensing Wang Lin's arrival, she frowned. Her body flashed, and she appeared outside the Purple Cloud Pavilion. She stared at Wang Lin, who was approaching like a rainbow, and coldly said, "What are you doing here?" Scram! Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Without saying anything, his right hand formed a seal, and he pointed forward. The celestial sword immediately whistled out, forcing the woman to retreat. The half-moon blade followed closely behind, and in a flash, it had already arrived. The woman's expression changed, and her body suddenly disappeared. Her speed was not any slower than the half-moon blade. With a flash, the half-moon blade only cut off a few strands of her hair. Wang Lin coldly snorted. He pointed his right hand at the sky and shouted, "Condense!" The celestial spiritual energy in his body moved along Wang Lin's right hand and suddenly condensed. A huge white ball of light instantly appeared in his palm. Without any hesitation, Wang Lin reached out with his right hand and pressed his body down. He shouted, "Come out!" The ball of light was like a bolt of lightning. It suddenly fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. There was an earth-shattering explosion as the ball of light completely merged into the ground. At this moment, the entire ground seemed to be moving like an earth dragon. 1,000 feet away, a white light flashed and quickly flew out from the ground. It stopped in midair and revealed the panicked figure of the woman. Wang Lin's gaze was cold as he stared at the woman and coldly said, "From today onwards, the Purple Cloud Pavilion will be renamed the Purple Forest Pavilion." As Wang Lin spoke, he slammed his right hand behind him. A ray of green light flew out and landed on the 3 words Purple Cloud Pavilion. In the blink of an eye, the green light disappeared and the cloud and the 3 words turned into a forest. The word forest was extremely domineering and very flamboyant. It was like an angry dragon coming out of the sea or a crazy phoenix pouncing on the sky. A disdainful and arrogant aura came from this word. Anyone who saw it couldn't help but be shocked. The woman in purple was startled as she stared at the words Purple Forest Pavilion. 2 streams of tears flowed down from the corners of her eyes. She suddenly turned around and stared at Wang Lin. Her voice sounded like it was being torn apart. "I'm going to kill you." With that, the woman's body moved and disappeared. A gentle breeze blew by, causing Wang Lin to frown and immediately retreat. This gentle breeze contained a monstrous killing intent. With one sweep, the ground where Wang Lin was just standing began to crack. As Wang Lin retreated, the figure of the woman in purple appeared from the gentle breeze. Her eyes were red and filled with killing intent. She touched her bag of holding, and a ray of red light flew out. It turned into a fire phoenix in the air and let out a sharp cry. However, this fire didn't touch the Purple Forest Pavilion at all. Instead, it fell toward Wang Lin like lava from the sky. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and his right hand reached at the void. The celestial sword appeared in his hand. Holding the celestial sword, Wang Lin gathered celestial spiritual energy in his body and slashed forward. A ray of sword energy several dozen feet long flew out and landed in the magma with a bang. The voice was extremely loud and echoed throughout the entire mountain. A gap appeared in the magma pool. Wang Lin's figure flickered as he walked out from the gap and pointed forward with his right thumb. With that, the world changed colors. At this moment, it was as if all the light in the world had been absorbed by the thumb, and the only thing left in the world was this thumb. This was one of the 3 techniques that C2 Nin taught Wang Lin before he left. Finger of obliteration. These 3 killing techniques were the result of C2 Nan's tens of thousands of years of cultivation. They were extremely powerful, and he only taught them to Wang Lin. With one finger, the purple-robed woman's face turned pale, and the color on her face disappeared. She was about to teleport away when she discovered that the space around her had become extremely fragile, and she couldn't teleport away. If he were to teleport, he would probably fall into the void without the other party even needing to do anything. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with a cold light, and his finger moved as fast as lightning toward the center of the woman's eyebrows. The woman in violet gritted her teeth, and her body flickered as a clone walked out of her body. The clone slammed into Wang Lin's thumb, and with a light snort, its body immediately withered, turning into bursts of white light that were all absorbed by Wang Lin's thumb. This time, Wang Lin's thumb was even more powerful. The purple-robed woman's face became even paler, and she coughed up a mouthful of blood. Her body swayed again, and another clone appeared from her body. Explode. The woman shrieked. 3 chapters today. Next month's vote. I still owe 6 chapters. Chapter 483. The explosion of the avatar caused a crazy aura to spread out. Sand was kicked up and the ground was cracked. Even the area outside the purple forest pavilion had collapsed. The explosion of the avatar caused a dense fog to spread out. The woman in purple immediately felt the space around her loosening up. Without a word, she turned around and was about to retreat. However, right at this moment, a demonic thumb suddenly appeared in the fog ahead of them. The woman's eyes were filled with terror and despair. Following the thumb was Wang Lin's cold eyes. He stared at the woman like he was looking at a dead person. Stop! At this moment, several rays of light flew over and an angry roar came from within. Wang Lin let out a cold snort. He was waiting for these people to arrive. At this moment, not only did his right hand not withdraw, it moved even faster. It moved several times faster than before and pressed down between the woman's eyebrows. The woman's eyes dimmed and her body trembled. She was flicked by Wang Lin's index finger and fell to the ground. However, her origin soul was sealed by Wang Lin's thumb. At this moment, the fog dissipated. Wang Lin stood in the air and placed his thumb on the corner of his mouth. With a suction force, the woman's origin soul was sealed inside the 1 billion soul flag. Rays of light pierced through the sky, and 4 figures suddenly appeared 100 feet away from Wang Lin. Of these 4 people, 3 men and 1 woman. Of the 3 men, Wang Lin recognized 2 of them. One of them was the kind-looking Zhao Xingsha, and the other was someone he knew. It was by way from the trade planet. As for the last man, he was middle-aged and had an ordinary appearance. However, at this moment, his body was filled with rage. He stared at Wang Lin and gritted his teeth. Killing your own sect members. Today, I will clean up the sect for Master. After the 3 men, there was a woman. She was very beautiful, and just by standing there, her fragrance filled the air. Her expression was a bit strange as she looked at Wang Lin like she was watching a show. After these 4 people, countless rays of light arrived. Wang Lin scanned them with his divine sense and recognized that all of them were disciples of the Purple Sect. Presumably, they'd noticed that something was amiss here and had come to take a look. These people did not approach, but stopped 1,000 zhang away. Gradually, more and more people arrived from afar, and in the end, the entire sky was practically completely occupied by the Violet Court disciples. Without exception, their gazes all descended onto Wang Lin's body. There were all sorts of emotions in these gazes, but most of them were filled with shock. The middle-aged man who shouted was about to step forward when he was stopped by Zhao Xingsha. The middle-aged man's eyes narrowed as he stared at Zhao Xingsha and said in a low voice, "Eldest senior brother, what is the meaning of this?" Zhao Xingsha's expression was serious. He ignored the middle-aged man and looked at Wang Lin instead. "Junior brother Wang Lin, you're ranked 7th, so I'll call you junior brother. What is the meaning of this?" Wang Lin's expression was the same as usual. These people's appearance was within his expectations. All of this must have been caused by Tian Yunzi. Wang Lin couldn't guess what Tian Yunzi was thinking, but at this moment, he was not afraid at all. Zhao Xingsha, mid-stage soul transformation. By way, mid-stage soul transformation. The middle-aged man was also mid-stage soul transformation. What really caught Wang Lin's attention was the woman. Her cultivation was very strong. Late-stage soul transformation. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. In response to Zhao Xingsha's question, Wang Lin calmly replied, "Who is Sun Yin?" Hearing this, everyone's expressions changed. Zhao Xingsha stared at Wang Lin. After a while, he shook his head and said, "7th brother, you're wrong. Senior brother can't help you." With that, he let go of the middle-aged man's arm. The middle-aged man looked at Wang Lin and took a step forward. He crossed 100 feet and stood 10 feet away from Wang Lin. He coldly said, "Cultivator from an abandoned planet, today I'll let you know what a real spell is." This person emitted an extremely dangerous aura. Wang Lin stared at him and placed his right hand on his bag of holding. At this moment, Bai Wei's eyes revealed a hint of struggle. He suddenly said, "Second senior brother, using a forbidden spell on a fellow disciple is a violation of the sect's rules." The middle-aged man glanced at Bai Wei and coldly said, "He killed fifth junior sister. He killed fifth junior sister. Could it be that you've fallen for him, Bai Wei?" Bai Wei's eyes revealed a strange light. He stared at the middle-aged man and chuckled. "Senior brother's words have violated my taboo. I'll remember it." The middle-aged man snorted and turned his head. He stared at Wang Lin and coldly said, "Make your move. I'll let you use 3 spells first. Even if you have to use treasures, I'll let you use them first." Wang Lin calmly looked at this person. This middle-aged man was at the mid-stage of soul transformation. His celestial spiritual energy was much stronger than Wang Lin's, but Wang Lin had many treasures. In addition to Situ Nan's 3 killing techniques, Wang Lin had 70% confidence in dealing with a mid-stage soul transformation cultivator. 3 spells. Wang Lin let out a smile. He raised his right hand, pointed at the person, and said, "3 spells, good." In an instant, the celestial spiritual energy in Wang Lin's body surged like crazy. His thumb emitted a demonic light that seemed to attract all the light around it. At the same time, Wang Lin took a step forward and pressed his thumb forward. The middle-aged man had already noticed Wang Lin's spell. Now that he saw Wang Lin use it again, he couldn't help but sneer. He took a deep breath and clasped his hands together. Suddenly, a golden aura came out from between his eyebrows. This golden light was extremely powerful. The moment it appeared, it surrounded the man's body. A powerful force suddenly spread out from the man's body. In the blink of an eye, Wang Lin's thumb arrived and pressed against the golden light in front of the man. The man roared, "Forbidden spell, ruin's end." In an instant, the golden light around the burly man seemed to come alive and moved like crazy. The moment Wang Lin's thumb pressed down, it formed a golden thumb that collided with Wang Lin's thumb. Wang Lin revealed a mocking smile. He withdrew his right thumb and touched his bag of holding with his left hand. The soul lasher appeared in his hand. With a crisp snap, the thumb formed by the man covered in golden light collapsed. Even the golden light around him dissipated. This is the first time, and this is the second time. Second senior apprentice brother, don't dodge. As Wang Lin spoke, he suddenly swung the soul lasher in his hand. This whip was like a dragon as it charged out with a shocking momentum. With a pa sound, the man's face turned pale. His origin soul was almost pulled out by this whip, and the golden light around him collapsed. Seeing that the third whip was about to land, the man immediately retreated a few hundred feet. He stared at the whip in Wang Lin's hand and said with an ugly expression, "What kind of treasure is this?" Wang Lin looked at the man and chuckled. "One more whip." The burly man's expression was gloomy as he let out a snort and slapped his bag of holding. A giant longsword appeared in his hand. He held the longsword in his hand, and with a shake, a surge of sword intent shot into the sky. Including the hand seal from before, there are exactly 3 moves. How can there be one more whip? Today, let me help Master clean up the sect. Wang Lin die. With that, he charged forward and threw the longsword in his hand. He shouted, 10 directions, 8 paths formation. The moment the sword flew out, it split into 2, then from 2 to 4. In the blink of an eye, countless swords descended from the sky toward Wang Lin. At the same time, the middle-aged man sat down and formed a seal with his hand. He began to chant, and a cloud of black mist came out from the top of his head. It lingered in the air for a long time. As he chanted faster and faster, more and more black mist came out. It looked like a black cloud was pressing down on his head. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his right hand pointed at the celestial sword. The celestial sword flew out toward the flying swords in the sky. At the same time, the half-moon blade followed like lightning. A series of loud rumbling sounds could be heard as the flying swords that descended from the sky shattered one by one, turning into fragments that fell in all directions. After doing all of this, Wang Lin waved his left hand and the battle axe appeared in his hand. At this moment, he was like an ancient god of war. With one step, he crossed a few dozen feet and swung the battle axe down at the middle-aged man sitting on the ground. The middle-aged man suddenly opened his eyes. At this moment, his eyes were pitch black. He let out a ferocious laugh and suddenly stood up. The black mist in the sky was like a funnel that frantically split into 7 strands and entered the man's orifices. Forbidden spell, immortal demon body. The middle-aged man let out a roar and took a step forward. Wang Lin's battle axe instantly landed on his body. There was a sound of metal colliding, but there was no injury on the burly man's body. As for Wang Lin, he felt a powerful force coming from the battle axe, causing his arm to go numb. The burly man let out a vicious laugh, and his body trembled. He turned into a cloud of black mist and charged at Wang Lin. Wherever he went, the earth cracked and the plants withered. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he retreated. At the same time, he waved his right hand and the beast trap flew off his wrist. It landed on the side and turned into the god-slaying war chariot. A flash of killing intent appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. This person's first move was the so-called forbidden spell. This spell was indeed very powerful. If it wasn't for the fact that Wang Lin had a lot of treasures, he wouldn't be able to resist. The middle-aged man turned into a cloud of black mist and charged at Wang Lin. At this moment, the celestial sword in the sky charged at the black mist. The half-moon blade followed closely behind and pierced through the black mist in an instant. The middle-aged man let out a snort from the black mist. He ignored the blade and charged at Wang Lin. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. His right hand formed a seal, and he softly said, "Demonic finger." The second killing spell that Situnin taught him, activate. The second chapter has arrived. There will be one more chapter in a bit, begging for monthly tickets. Chapter 484. A purple flame suddenly appeared on Wang Lin's right index finger. This purple flame flickered and looked very inconspicuous, as if it could be extinguished at any moment. However, this flame was something that Wang Lin had barely learned under Situnan's guidance. This flame was a demonic flame. This demonic flame was created by burning celestial spiritual energy in one's body. According to Situnan, any mid-stage soul transformation cultivator would die if they encountered it. As the flame circled around his finger, Wang Lin's gaze became cold. At this moment, under the light of the demonic flame, his entire body gave off a strange feeling. He pointed forward with his right index finger. The moment the black mist closed in, the demonic flame on his finger shot out and merged with the black mist. In an instant, the black mist was like boiling water as it quickly retreated 3 feet away from Wang Lin. Cries of alarm came from within it. Wang Lin revealed a cold smile as he charged forward. With a flip of his right hand, the soul lasher appeared in his hand, and he ruthlessly lashed out. After a few cracking sounds, the whip in Wang Lin's hand danced like crazy. The black mist churned even more violently, as if it was about to collapse. Wang Lin followed closely and lashed out with the soul lasher. At this moment, among the 3 people watching, Zhao Xingsha's expression changed. He immediately charged out and shouted, "Seventh brother, stop!" As Zhao Xingsha spoke, he slapped his bag of holding and a white wheel of light appeared in his hand. His eyes flashed with a strange light as he was about to throw it out. Just at this moment, Wang Lin suddenly turned around. He stared at the charging Zhao Xingsha and shouted, "You, I'll scram." Zhao Xingsha's expression changed, and he let out a cold smile. Not only did he not retreat, but he also sped up. He threw the wheel of light toward Wang Lin. A flash of disdain appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. He pointed at the god-slaying war chariot and coldly said, "Release the seal." The moment these 2 words left his mouth, a shocking roar that shook the entire mountain and could be heard from tens of thousands of kilometers away came from the god-slaying war chariot. This roar contained an unyielding aura, unyielding to the heavens, unyielding to the earth, unyielding to the celestials, unyielding to the devils, and unyielding to anything in the world spread out like crazy. Zhao Xingsha's body instantly stopped. His face was pale as he stared at the god-slaying war chariot and immediately retreated. On the god-slaying war chariot was a giant spirit beast that was 100 meters tall. It raised its head and revealed two extremely cold lights that would make anyone's body tremble. The moment the spirit beast appeared, Bai Wei retreated 10,000 meters away without any hesitation. Only then did he stop and stared at the spirit beast with fear in his eyes. As for the late-stage soul transformation woman, her expression also changed. She retreated 1,000 meters away and looked at the spirit beast with a thoughtful expression. From her expression, it was clear that she was afraid of this spirit beast. If they were like this, then there was no need to even mention the disciples of the Violet Division. Those disciples all had expressions of shock on their faces. That unyielding roar just now had caused the majority of the disciples' hearts to violently shake. There were even some that were unable to continue floating in the air. The flow of spiritual energy within their bodies had been blocked. There were also some enforcement elders among the surrounding disciples. At this moment, they were secretly complaining in their hearts. It looked like they absolutely couldn't participate in the competition between the ancestor's disciples. How could anyone that the ancestor took in as a disciple be weak? Although this person was only at the early stage of soul transformation, his overall strength was enough to make even late-stage soul transformation cultivators' pupils shrink. The surrounding disciples all backed up. Their gazes toward Wang Lin were filled with shock and a hint of awe. The strong would always receive the respect of the weak. This was an ironclad rule in the cultivation world. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he stared at the retreating Zhao Xingsha and softly said, "Kill him. I'll allow you to devour his soul as your sacrifice." The spirit beast on the god-slaying war chariot suddenly turned its large head and looked deeply at Wang Lin before letting out another roar. This time, its body suddenly moved. Thick chains appeared around its body and connected it to the god-slaying war chariot. However, at this moment, the chains were pulled taut as if they could break at any moment. Even the god-slaying war chariot was pulled up by the spirit beast and followed closely behind it. Zhao Xingsha's expression changed greatly as he retreated like crazy. He shouted, "Third brother, fourth brother, attack!" Wang Lin sneered and no longer paid attention to Zhao Xingsha. Instead, he swung the whip in his hand at the black fog again. The cries of alarm from the black fog became even more intense. After 3 breaths of time, the black fog completely collapsed and turned into a middle-aged man. At this moment, his face was pale and his eyes were unfocused. As soon as he landed on the ground, his legs trembled and he almost fell. At this moment, Wang Lin's whip landed directly on the man's chest. His origin soul was pulled out 3 feet from his body. Wang Lin put away the soul lasher and waved his right hand. The soul flag appeared in his hand, and a few primary souls immediately flew out and chased after the middle-aged man's origin soul. After doing all of this, Wang Lin calmly stood in the sky. His gaze was calm as he looked around. All the disciples of the purple sect lowered their heads and didn't dare to meet Wang Lin's gaze. Even the enforcement elders lowered their heads. Their hearts were filled with fear. This Wang Lin came from a wasted planet. How could he have this kind of spell? This question appeared in everyone's heart and lingered for a long time. Finally, Wang Lin's gaze fell on Bai Wei and the late-stage soul transformation woman. He calmly said, "Do you two still want to attack?" Bai Wei bitterly smiled and shook his head. The woman's eyes lit up and she smiled. Seventh Brother's display of power today has allowed us to truly understand you. If there is a chance in the future, it won't be too late for us to fight again. Wang Lin nodded and waved his right hand. The primary souls that were chasing the middle-aged man immediately gave up and returned to Wang Lin's side. Wang Lin opened his mouth and inhaled. All of the primary souls entered his mouth and entered the soul flag inside his origin soul. The middle-aged man's origin soul was filled with fear. He was truly afraid. Just now, he had used a forbidden spell to transform into his celestial demon body. He should have been able to devour anything, but he couldn't devour his opponent's sword. Then the seemingly weak purple flame entered his body, causing his celestial demon body to collapse. The backlash caused him to be seriously injured, and there was still a sliver of the purple flame in his body. This wasn't the end. Under the continuous lashes of the whip, he was even more injured. The whip passed through his body and into his origin soul. The last whip even pulled out his origin soul. This kind of magic treasure caused his mind to tremble. Then he was chased by several soul transformation soul fragments. If they didn't take back their soul fragments, then he could only self-destruct and sacrifice a large portion of his cultivation to escape. As for Zhao Xingsha, no matter how fast he was, he couldn't outrun the soul beast. Just as he was about to be captured by the soul beast, a ray of peaceful light descended from the sky. This light turned into specks of light that fused together to form an old man. This old man had a kind face and long eyebrows fluttered in the wind. There was a smile on his face as he looked at the soul beast. He pointed at the void and laughed. What a good, venerable, heavenly beast. The soul beast suddenly stopped and stared at the old man. It let out a roar, but its eyes were filled with fear. The old man shook his head slightly and hit the air with his right hand. The spirit beast immediately let out a whimper, and its large body instantly shrank. The old man threw it back onto the god-slaying war chariot and turned it into the beast trap with a bang. Zhao Xingsha's face was pale. When he saw the old man, he respectfully said, "Greetings, teacher." Bai Wei and the woman at the late stage of soul transformation also became serious and respectfully said, "Greetings, teacher." As for the middle-aged man who had lost his body, he was also very respectful. Before his origin soul returned to his body, he respectfully said, "Disciple greets teacher." At this moment, all of the disciples of the Purple Division knelt down and bowed. The old man nodded and waved his hand. The middle-aged man's origin soul was surrounded by a gentle force and returned to his body. All of his injuries were instantly healed. After doing all of this, the old man's gaze fell on Wang Lin, and he smiled. "Actually, you've already seen me." Wang Lin waved his hand, and the beast trap flew into his hand. He looked up at the old man, and the domineering expression on his face disappeared. He respectfully said, "Junior Wang Lin greets Senior Tian Yunzi." The old man nodded and looked at the Purple Forest Pavilion behind Wang Lin. Most of the Purple Forest Pavilion had collapsed during the battle. Only the words, "Purple Forest Pavilion," were still intact. Good writing. The old man stroked his white beard and pointed with his right hand. There was a flash of white light, and the Purple Forest Pavilion was restored to its original state. It was as if nothing had happened. Even the fissures in the ground, the rocks and the trees, all disappeared. This spell caused Wang Lin's mind to tremble violently. "Wang Lin, when the old man saw you in Shizuku, he wanted to take you as a disciple. He originally wanted to take you as a disciple for 100 years, but when the old man saw you again, he changed his mind. Are you willing to take me as your teacher, cultivate the heavenly Tao, and become a true disciple of the Purple Division of Tian Yunzi?" Tian Yunzi looked at Wang Lin with a serious expression. Wang Lin looked at Tian Yunzi. After a while, he knelt down on one knee and said, "Disciple Wang Lin greets teacher." "Good." Tian Yunzi laughed. He looked at Wang Lin with a kind expression and said, "Why haven't you released your fifth senior sister's origin soul? If you're too late, wouldn't I have one less disciple?" Wang Lin raised his head and said, "I can release fifth senior sister's origin soul, but the other two disrespected me, so I can't." Tian Yunzi was silent for a while and then smiled. He looked deeply at Wang Lin and nodded. "Good. All right, the update is complete. I'll continue writing now. I'll be staying at my mother-in-law's place tonight, so I can't go online. Please forgive me. Cast some votes, or else I won't be able to sit firmly in third place." Chapter 485. Wang Lin's origin soul moved, and the woman in purple's origin soul was released from the soul flag. A ray of purple light came out from Wang Lin's mouth and turned into the woman's figure a few hundred feet away. The moment she appeared, she let out an angry scream and pounced at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. His body didn't move, but his eyes were cold. Tian Yunzi calmly said, "Enough." With one word, the woman in purple's origin soul collapsed and turned into specks of light. Tian Yunzi waved his sleeve and put the specks of light into it. Wang Lin was startled. His pupils shrank as he stared at the spot where the woman in purple's origin soul disappeared. He remained silent. "All of you can leave. Wang Lin, stay." Tian Yunzi waved his sleeve and landed outside of the purple forest pavilion. Bai Wei bowed respectfully and fell back. She turned into a rainbow and flew away. As for the late-stage soul transformation woman, she also respectfully left with Bai Wei. The middle-aged man and Zhao Xingsha's expressions were gloomy. Zhao Xingsha's expression was especially ugly. He stared deeply at Wang Lin before turning around and leaving. The disciples of the Purple Division scattered. Today, Wang Lin's image had completely changed in their hearts. At this moment, no one dared to be disrespectful to Wang Lin. Wang Lin respectfully stood next to Tian Yunzi and silently lowered his head. Tian Yunzi's strength was far beyond his imagination. He secretly compared Situ Nan to Tian Yunzi, but in the end, he had to admit that Situ Nan was far from being Tian Yunzi's opponent. After all, Situ Nan couldn't destroy a person's origin soul with one shout and restore everything to its original state with one word. This was already in the realm of celestial spells and was no longer an earth cultivation technique. During the past month, Situ Nan had introduced the techniques of cultivators to Wang Lin. Among the techniques, the one that left the deepest impression on Wang Lin was the celestial techniques. Spells that don't use celestial spiritual energy to cast are celestial spells. To be more accurate, real celestial spells are like the Cultivation Alliance's heavenly Tao seal. It was just that the seal technique needed an inheritance, while the immortal technique needed a mnemonic chant and a seal technique. Ever since the collapse of the immortal world, a large number of immortal arts had disappeared. As time passed, the number of immortal arts slowly decreased. Celestial techniques were also divided into different grades. Generally speaking, they were divided into low-grade, medium-grade, and high-grade celestial techniques. There was also a grade known as the supreme grade celestial technique. This type of celestial technique was too rare. Situ Nan had only heard about it from others, so he didn't say much about it. As for the 3 killing moves he taught Wang Lin, to be precise, they were comprehended by Situ Nan many years ago from the first Rosefinch, Yi Wuyo, from an incomplete low-grade immortal art. Situ Nan was unable to restore it, so he could only imitate it. After countless years of pondering, he was finally able to imitate the 3 killing moves. Because he cultivated the demonic path, the 3 killing moves he imitated had a demonic nature. Tian Yunzi silently stood outside the purple forest pavilion. He looked at the word Lin for a long time without saying a word. The surroundings were completely silent. Wang Lin stood beside him and also didn't say a word. He didn't understand Tian Yunzi's temper and didn't know what his teacher was thinking. However, from his expression, he didn't seem to be angry. After a long time, Tian Yunzi let out a sigh. He withdrew his gaze and looked at Wang Lin. He smiled and said, "What a good Lin character. Not bad. Looking at this character, there's an aura of arrogance coming from it. I presume there is someone beside you who cultivates the demonic path. After being with you for a long time, your body is naturally contaminated with the aura of the demonic path." Wang Lin's heart trembled. His expression remained the same, but his mind quickly spun. Finally, he focused on the scene where the middle-aged man used a forbidden spell to turn into an immortal demonic body. Then he calmly nodded and truthfully said, "There was one person beside Disciple, but we separated on the way." Tian Yunzi stroked his white beard and smiled. Even if he came to planet Tianyun, it doesn't matter. In teacher's eyes, there is no such thing as good or evil, immortal or demonic. All that matters is following one's surname. Everything in this world is determined by the heavens. As long as one has the heart of Tao, no matter how many Taoists there are, they can all be cultivated. Wang Lin nodded in agreement. He remembered that second senior apprentice brother's spell was clearly not something cultivated by a righteous sect, but something similar to the devouring of the demonic path. That was why he told the truth, so Tian Yunzi wouldn't see through his lies. Have a good rest. In 3 months, it will be Teacher's birthday. Most of the powerful cultivators on planet Tianyun will be here. Teacher will take this opportunity to announce that I will accept you as my disciple. This will give the people of planet Tianyun some impression of you. There are also some other things that I believe your senior apprentice brother will tell you soon. As the All-Seer spoke, he stepped through the air and slowly walked into the distance. Step by step, he disappeared into the void. Wang Lin respectfully sent off Tian Yunzi. Then he turned around and walked back into the Purple Forest Pavilion. In a secret chamber on the 3rd floor of the Purple Forest Pavilion, Wang Lin sat down in the lotus position and let out a deep breath. He looked around with a mysterious light in his eyes. It looks like I've gained a foothold in the Heavenly Fates sect. It looks like I can't be too arrogant here, and domineering people have a better chance of surviving. This Tian Yunzi must have been paying attention and clearly saw all the treasures I used. The god-slaying war chariot isn't a big deal, but the celestial sword. However, all of this is within my expectations. If I want to take root here, I can't hide the celestial sword from Tian Yunzi's eyes. Now that I've used it without holding back, I believe Tian Yunzi is too embarrassed to ask for it from his disciple. Even if he wants to take it, I'll just give it to him. Maybe I can even get some benefits back. The forbidden spell that second senior apprentice brother used is very unreliable. Right now, my cultivation has reached the peak of the early stage of soul transformation. In the human trial, I sought the Tao of my heart and experienced many reincarnations to comprehend my Tao heart. In the heaven trial, I grasped the Tao of the heavens and my domain improved. Right now, I'm not far from the mid-stage of soul transformation. However, if I want to reach the mid-stage of soul transformation, I'll need a large amount of celestial jades. With my current amount of celestial jades, I still don't have enough. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin formed a seal with both of his hands and placed down restrictions to protect the entire Purple Forest Pavilion. Then he closed his eyes and began to cultivate. In the eastern part of the Purple Sect, there was an extremely luxurious pavilion that was paved with jadeite stones. 3 words were engraved on it: Purple Star Pavilion. Zhao Xingsha's expression was gloomy as he walked into the Purple Star Pavilion. The moment he walked in, he clenched his fist and mercilessly punched the air. Wang Lin, I have cultivated with Venerable 9 coin for more than 2,000 years, so I understand Master very well. He didn't directly take you to the ancestral pavilion and didn't teach you a life-saving forbidden technique. There must be a problem here. If I'm not wrong, I fear this is Master's real test for you. If you have the ability to trample the Purple Division in 3 months, then he will truly treat you as his disciple. However, Wang Lin, I won't give you this chance. I don't care about the Purple Cloud Pavilion, but the title of true disciple of the Purple Division will definitely be mine. Second brother suffered a setback this time, so he will definitely hate me, so I can use him. As for third brother, that person is unpredictable and will be a bit troublesome, but I have my own methods to make him listen to me. Fourth brother, her cultivation level is high, but I have my own methods to deal with her. Only sixth brother. Sixth brother's cultivation level is at the ascended stage, but after his title of true disciple was taken by Sun Yun, he left the Heavenly Fates sect to train. If he comes back, it's fine, but if he doesn't, then my only opponent will be this Wang Lin. Originally, I didn't consider him a threat, but today, I can see that his spells are not bad and he doesn't lack magical treasures. Although his cultivation level is only at the early stage of soul transformation, he can threaten late-stage soul transformation cultivators and is my biggest enemy. Unfortunately, after all these years, my injuries still haven't recovered. Otherwise, a mere early-stage soul transformation cultivator wouldn't be worthy of my attention. Zhao Xingsha's eyes revealed a strange light as he looked toward the Purple Forest Pavilion and revealed a sinister smile. Seventh brother, I'll let fourth brother fight you first. I won't kill you, but I'll seriously injure you. You'll need to go into closed-door cultivation for a few years to recover. At that time, I'll already be one of the true disciples of the Heavenly Fate sect, and my cultivation will recover. You will no longer be my limit. There was a very elegant pavilion in the western part of the Purple Division. This was the Purple Forest Pavilion. Sitting inside the Purple Forest Pavilion was a branch before him. This was a branch that had just been broken off, and some buds were about to bloom. There was a milky white Bai Wei quietly resting on the branch. There was another Bai Wei looking at the branch with a pondering expression. This Wang Lin's cultivation level is very strange. When I met him on the trade planet, I had a vague feeling that he should be stronger than he is now. Unlike now, where I need to use magical treasures to achieve the same effect. This seventh brother seems to have a lot of secrets. However, the more secrets he has, the more charming he is. Bai Wei muttered to himself, and his eyes revealed a hint of confusion. His right index finger was gently placed on the corner of his mouth. Night fell, and the Purple Division was very quiet under the moonlight. Tonight, the only topic of discussion among the disciples of the Purple Division was Wang Lin. The name Wang Lin was like a bright meteor that flew across the sky. Everyone couldn't help but raise their heads to look at him. They just didn't know if this meteor would disappear in a flash or if it was an eternal existence. Wang Lin sat in the lotus position and cultivated for an entire night without a word. The next morning, when the first ray of sunlight shined on the third floor of the Purple Forest Pavilion, Wang Lin opened his eyes. His eyes lit up as he stood up and walked down to the third floor. Celestial jades. Wang Lin pondered a bit. Then his expression changed, and he looked outside the pavilion. A short while later, a gentle voice drifted in from outside. "Seventh brother, do you have time?" Wang Lin's expression immediately became strange. In the Purple Division, he wasn't afraid of Zhao Xingsha or Fourth Sister, but he couldn't avoid Third Brother Bai Wei. To be continued. Chapter 486. Wang Lin sighed and walked out of the pavilion. Outside, he saw Bai Wei wearing a purple robe. There were some flower decorations on his robe. He was already very handsome. Now that he was dressed up and under the sunlight, he looked like a beautiful woman. Wang Lin kept his distance from him and asked, "What business do you have with me?" Bai Wei let out a sweet smile. He bit his lower lip and said, "Of course I have something to do. Seventh brother, you haven't collected your clothes and token yet. I have already collected them for you and am here to deliver them to you." With that, he waved his hand, and a bag of holding flew toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin caught it and scanned it with his divine sense. There were indeed 2 sets of purple robes and a token. "Thank you." Wang Lin clasped his fists and said calmly, "No problem. You are not familiar with this purple mountain. Why don't I introduce you to it?" Bai Wei smiled. Wang Lin had a strange look in his eyes. He refused and said, "I appreciate your kindness, but there is no need. I still need to cultivate. Third brother, let's do it another day." As Wang Lin spoke, he took 2 steps back. Bai Wei looked very strange to him. Interacting with him made Wang Lin feel very uncomfortable. Bai Wei looked at Wang Lin with a sad expression and said, "Seventh brother, I mean no harm. Seventh junior brother, I don't have any ill intentions. It's just that the purple bloodline is very complicated. I thought about it for an entire night, and only then did I decide to tell you. Could it be that you really don't want to hear it?" Wang Lin was silent for a while. His right hand slapped the bag of holding. There was a flash of white light, and a set of tables and chairs appeared on the ground. There was even a teapot on top of the table. Wang Lin's eyes were clear. He lifted the hem of his robe and sat down. He smiled and said, "Third brother, please sit." Bai Wei chuckled and sat on the side. He picked up the teapot and poured a cup for Wang Lin before pouring a cup for himself. After putting down the teapot, he softly said, "When we parted, I really didn't expect you to be the honorary disciple master mentioned last year." Wang Lin smiled and said nothing. Bai Wei picked up his teacup and took a sip. Eyes glittering, he said, "Wang Lin, be careful of eldest brother." Wang Lin looked calm. He raised his head to look at Bai Wei, waiting for her to continue. Bai Wei put down the teacup and slowly said, "Senior apprentice brother is the first person to follow master in the Purple Division, so he knows a lot of things we don't know. For example, Master has been on planet Tianyun for tens of thousands of years, but only a few disciples have cultivated for around 1,000 years, and very few have cultivated for more than 10,000 years. Others might not know this, but eldest senior brother definitely knows. Wang Lin's eyes froze. He had considered this question before, but he didn't know much about it. So, he hadn't thought much about it. Now that Bai Wei said this, he had an idea. Where did Master's previous disciples go? Not only you and I, but even second brother, fourth brother, and fifth brother can't figure this out. If there is anyone else in the Purple Division besides eldest brother who knows, it would be seventh brother, Sun Yun. I even suspect that the reason he betrayed the sect was because of this. Wang Lin pondered a bit. After a while, he slowly said, "Third brother, since there is no conclusion to this matter, it is better not to make wild guesses." Bai Wei's eyes revealed a mysterious light. After pondering a bit, he said, "My Purple Division is the weakest among the 7 divisions. Although this is the case, there is still a lot of conflict, especially between senior apprentice brother. He has been eyeing the title of true disciple for a very long time. Don't underestimate eldest brother. His cultivation level was not like this before. Back then, eldest brother and sixth brother fought for the true disciple title and suffered an injury that couldn't be healed. His cultivation level dropped a lot, but he was very tenacious and went in a closed-door cultivation for hundreds of years to wipe away his shame. Unfortunately, Sun Yun appeared. Sun Yun defeated sixth brother and eldest brother to obtain the true disciple title. 3 months from now, during teacher's birthday celebration, the true disciple title will appear once more in the Purple Division. This time, eldest brother is determined to obtain it. Unless sixth brother returns from his training trip, you, an outsider, will be someone he must eliminate." Wang Lin slightly frowned and said, "The true disciple title is only an empty title. Why is there a need to fight over it?" Bai Wei was startled as he looked at Wang Lin. After a long time, he laughed and said, "Empty title? Seventh brother, do you know that once you become one of the true disciples, you will be below only a few people on planet Tianyun and above tens of thousands of people? Any cultivation country will obey you and you'll have a large number of followers. In addition to all of this, all of the true disciples have their own country to cultivate in. You can choose anywhere on planet Tianyun, and you even have a chance to obtain a cultivation planet from another planet. All of this is secondary. The most important thing is that as a soul transformation cultivator, isn't our greatest wish to reach the ascendant stage? Reaching the ascendant stage means seeking the Tao in the morning and dying in the evening. You should know this. The moment you reach the ascendant stage, there's a great deal of danger. You might not even have the chance to recultivate. There is only a slim chance of survival. However, once you become one of the true disciples, then Master will help you. Although it won't be 100% certain, it will at least increase the chance of success by 30%. Tell me, who wouldn't be tempted?" Wang Lin took a deep breath, and his eyes lit up. This is not the end. The amount of celestial jades we need to cultivate is unimaginable. Even as Master's disciple, we get a fixed amount every month, but as our cultivation level increases, it is still not enough. However, once you become one of the true disciples, the entire Heavenly Fate sect will have an unlimited supply of celestial jades for you. You won't be tempted? Wang Lin's pupil shrank. Also, if you don't care about fame, don't care about reaching the ascendant stage, and don't care about celestial jades, then you should know that once you become one of the true disciples, you will truly receive Master's guidance. Master's guidance is not an illusion, but a real celestial spell. For 1,000 years, one of the true disciples will be taught a low-quality celestial spell, and that is a complete low-quality celestial spell. After 10,000 years, you will be one of the true disciples of the All-Seer Alliance. Then you will be taught a low-quality celestial spell, and if you succeed, you will be sent to the Cultivation Alliance to further your studies and become a truly powerful cultivator. Being one of the true disciples of the All-Seer for 1,000 years only to be taught a low-quality celestial spell. For 1,000 years, one of the true disciples will be taught a low-quality, celestial spell. Bai Wei nodded and said, word for word, absolutely true. The Azure Division's Li Shengnan is the true disciple for 1,000 years. 100 years ago, she received a complete, low-quality, celestial spell from Master. Even now, she is still in closed-door cultivation. Once she comes out, her strength will reach a terrifying degree. Bai Wei nodded. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light. After pondering a bit, he nodded and stood up. He clasped his hands at Bai Wei and said, Third senior brother, I'm tired. When I have time, I'll come visit. Bai Wei smiled as he got up and said, No problem. Since that is the case, I won't bother you anymore. Seventh brother, if you need anything, you can come find me. With that, Bai Wei clasped his hands and walked out. The moment he turned around, the smile on his face disappeared and was replaced with a gloomy expression. Eldest brother, you want to become one of the true disciples? As long as I, Bai Wei, am alive, I won't let you succeed. I will make you fail every time. Only then can I get revenge on you for what you did to me back then. Wang Lin returned to the Purple Forest Pavilion, and his eyes lit up. If it was before, Wang Lin wouldn't have known how precious a complete low-quality celestial spell was. However, after spending a month with Situ Nan and learning the 3 killing moves, Wang Lin had a deep understanding of celestial spells. The 3 killing moves that Situ Nan created using the incomplete celestial spell had such power. This showed just how powerful a complete celestial spell was. The reason celestials were so powerful was because of 2 reasons. One was celestial treasures. The second was celestial spells. Celestials with high-quality celestial treasures and celestial spells were terrifying existences. The higher their cultivation level, the more powerful they were. There might be spells that could compare to celestial spells, but as far as Wang Lin knew, only the spells of the ancient god clan could compare. There were many spells of the ancient god clan in the memories that Wang Lin obtained from 2C. However, these spells could only be used by the auspicious god clan, and the requirements were very strict. With his original body's cultivation level, he couldn't use them. 7 true disciples of the All-Seer. Interesting. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. After pondering for a bit, he put on his disciple robe and left the Purple Forest Pavilion with his token. It was now almost noon, and the sun was high up in the sky, giving off waves of heat. Wang Lin was wearing a purple robe, and his long hair flowed in the wind, giving him a sense of elegance. As he walked on the peak of the Purple Division, every disciple that saw Wang Lin would stop, respectfully clasp their hands, and call him Seventh Ancestor. As Wang Lin walked, he gradually understood something. The Heavenly Fate sect wasn't like the sects on the Suzaka Mountain, where the strong were respected. Instead, they followed the tradition of the ancient cultivation sects, where seniority was determined by who entered the sect. As a result, unless it was someone like Wang Lin who suddenly joined in, the hierarchy was very strict, and there would be no replacement for each generation. This was also why even though Sun Yun had become the true disciple of the All-Seer, he still had to call Zhao Xingsha senior brother. The Purple Division Mountain was very large. Wang Lin had explored it many times before, so he was no stranger to it. The place he was going to was the spiritual pavilion of the Purple Division. This pavilion was where regular disciples received pills and spirit stones. This was also where Bai Wei received the robe and token. As a disciple of Tian Yunzi, he had to enjoy some privileges. For example, he would get a fixed amount of celestial jades. He only came out to get his celestial jades after hearing Bai Wei talk about this matter. If I want to compete for the title of true disciple, my cultivation level must be at the mid-stage of soul transformation. On planet Tianyin, I, Wang Lin, want to be a domineering person. This is not a place to hide. If I show weakness, I'm afraid I'll be immediately stepped on. Even Tian Yunzi acquiesced to this behavior. Otherwise, the slaughter from before wouldn't have happened. Since that is the case, I want to see how far I, Wang Lin, can go in the Heavenly Fate sect. As long as I don't cross teacher Tian Yunzi's bottom line, I can do whatever I want here. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Today's update is late. There are always these things happening during the new year, so I hope everyone can understand. My monthly votes have fallen. This is the first time in half a year that I've fallen to 4th place. I can't blame everyone for not voting. I can only blame myself. I've worked very hard during the new year, but I still haven't updated. However, I'm not willing to fail like this. There are only a few days left until the end of the month. Could it be that I can't kill my way up this month? I don't believe it. Chapter 487. The Great Spirit Pavilion was located in the middle of the Purple Sect Mountain. There was a giant platform in the middle of the mountain. This pavilion had a total of 9 floors, and from a distance, it gave off a dense amount of spiritual energy that rippled out. This pavilion was constructed with green jade tiles. From the outside, it gave off a feeling of vicissitudes, as if it had experienced the baptism of countless years. On top of it, some of the green stones had already turned gray. Some emerald green, vine-like plants extended out from the gaps of the pavilion, densely covering the entire floor. Small purple flowers would appear on these vines at regular intervals. They bloomed in a demonic manner, emitting waves of fragrance that seeped into one's heart. Beneath the pavilion was a huge formation. The formation enveloped the entire platform, with the spirit pavilion in the center. From a distance, this formation looked like yin and yang, and as they intersected, it gave off a sense of chaos. There were 3 powerful auras that seemed like they wanted to break out of the formation. These 3 auras turned into 3 long white lines that moved around the formation, but strangely enough, they never collided with each other. A middle-aged man was sitting cross-legged outside the spirit pavilion. He was dressed in black, and his eyebrows were sharp like swords. His face was as white as jade, and 3 strands of long beard hung down from his chin, swaying even though there was no wind. He looked like an immortal. This person had completely concealed his cultivation. Unless his cultivation was higher than his, it would be very difficult for others to find any clues. He sat there with a calm expression on his face, as if he didn't care about anything in the world. At this moment, all his attention was focused on the item on his knees. There was a 7-foot-long sword on this person's knees. This sword was completely green and gave off a ghostly light. When the sun shined on it, everything within a few dozen feet was covered in this green light. Wang Lin stood a few dozen feet away from the Great Spirit Pavilion. His gaze was calm as he looked at the person sitting outside. This person's cultivation is at the peak of the late stage of soul formation, but there's a very well-hidden sword intent on him. The middle-aged man opened his eyes. When he saw Wang Lin, he was startled. He immediately stood up and clasped his hands. Disciple Zhang Xiangfan greets 7th Ancestor. The moment this person stood up, the green sword turned into a ray of green light and disappeared into this person's body. Wang Lin's gaze fell on Zhang Xiangfan's forehead. After pondering a bit, he calmly said, "Can you let me take a look at your flying sword?" Zhang Xiangfan was startled and nodded. Disciple's flying sword is just an ordinary item. I obtained it at the market below the mountain, and there is nothing special about it. If 7th Ancestor wants to take a look, then you can. As he spoke, he pointed at his brow with his right hand and let out a soft cry. A green light flashed out from his brow and turned into a foot-long sword that gave off a series of sword hums. Wang Lin's eyes were calm as his right hand reached out. The green sword flew into his hand, and he began to carefully examine it. When Zhang Xiangfan put away the flying sword, the trace of sword intent on him disappeared without a trace. Now that Wang Lin looked at the flying sword, he was immediately able to tell that the sword intent wasn't from Zhang Xiangfan, but from this flying sword. Wang Lin's left hand gently stroked the green sword, and he trembled. If it was anyone else, it would be very difficult to detect the sword intent on the celestial sword. Even if they did, they would only think that this sword was extraordinary. However, when Wang Lin felt this sword intent, his mind trembled and a very familiar feeling appeared in his heart. Zhou, Wang Lin silently pondered. The trace of comprehension on this flying sword was clearly the sword intent that Zhou Yi gave off when he turned into a sword spirit. Back then, Zhou Yi chased after Sword Saint Ling Tianhou. In a flash, there was no news of him after more than 100 years. At this moment, this was the first time Wang Lin felt Zhou Yi's sword intent. If it wasn't for the fact that he had Zhou Yi's ascendant domain pagoda, he wouldn't have been able to recognize the origin of the sword intent at a glance. There was only a trace of sword intent on this flying sword. After feeling this trace of sword intent, Wang Lin silently pondered a bit, and then his right hand touched the sword. The sword suddenly became even more green, and a ray of green light flew out. It turned into a green star and floated before Wang Lin. Looking at the star, Wang Lin let out a sigh. His right hand reached out and grabbed the star. He looked at the bewildered Zhang Xiangfan and said, "This sword contains a trace of an old friend's sword intent, so I'll take it. However, I won't mistreat you. Take this jade. There are 18 restrictions inside. If you place these restrictions on any flying sword below high quality, it will increase its power several-fold." With that, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding, and a jade appeared in his hand. He threw it at Zhang Xiangfan. As for the green flying sword, Wang Lin also returned it. Although Zhang Xiangfan's expression was respectful, he revealed a pained expression. He didn't have any expectations after accepting the jade, so he subconsciously scanned it with his divine sense. However, his body immediately trembled and his face was filled with shock. After a while, he suddenly raised his head, looked at Wang Lin, and respectfully said, "Thank you, seventh ancestor." Zhang Xiangfan had seen many things since he started cultivating. He could immediately tell that these 18 restrictions were extraordinary. These 18 restrictions were all offensive restrictions, and most importantly, these 18 restrictions could be stacked on top of each other. This was extremely rare. Zhang Xiangfan suppressed the excitement in his heart. He wanted nothing more than to go into seclusion right now and imprint all 18 restrictions onto his flying sword. When the restrictions were stacked on top of each other, he would no longer have to fear anyone in the late stage of soul formation. These 18 restrictions were only 2 of the 19 groups that Wang Lin had been pondering about after studying Yang Zi's straw hat. If he wanted the restriction flag to have 9,999 groups of restrictions, these weren't enough. Wang Lin didn't waste any time and directly said, "I'm here to collect my celestial jades." Zhang Xiangfan quickly nodded and said, "Seventh ancestor, every month there will be a quota of 100 celestial jades. Give me the token and I'll open the transfer array for you." When Wang Lin heard this, he waved his right hand and the token flew over. After Zhang Xiangfan caught it, he respectfully took a few steps back and looked at the ground. His right hand formed a seal and his eyes lit up. He suddenly pressed the token against the ground. Wang Lin clearly saw that Zhang Xiangfan pressed the token at the exact moment when the 3 white lines crossed each other. The moment the token touched the ground, 3 long white lines suddenly burrowed into the ground. There was a loud rumbling sound, and Zhang Xiangfan couldn't hold on to the token in his hand. His body shook, and he staggered back a few steps. The token floated in the air, and 3 white marks rushed out from the ground, shuttling through the token. The speed was getting faster and faster, and in the end, only a series of afterimages could be seen, almost connecting into one. After a few breaths, the token suddenly emitted an intense purple light. This purple light spread out with a loud bang, and 3 long white scars immediately whistled out. They gathered together and directly rushed out of the token, flying toward the Great Spirit Pavilion not far away. They stopped on the 7th floor of the pavilion and connected with each other, forming a huge door of light. Zhang Xiangfan quickly said respectfully, "Seventh ancestor, please enter with the token." Wang Lin didn't say anything. He took a step forward and grabbed the token. His body turned into a ray of light and flew directly into the 7th floor. This door of light clearly had a teleportation function. As soon as Wang Lin stepped inside, his vision blurred. When his vision cleared, he found himself in a world that looked like a fairyland. This place was filled with the fragrance of flowers and the sound of flowing water. The sky was filled with 7 colored clouds, and there were cranes flying by. In the sky, the 7 colored clouds quickly merged with each other to form a giant figure. The figure's appearance couldn't be seen clearly, but a surge of celestial spiritual energy surged out. Token. A dignified voice came from the giant's mouth. Wang Lin's eyes were calm as he threw the token in his hand toward the giant. The token suddenly stopped before the giant, turned into specks of light, and entered the giant's body. Shortly after, the giant's voice echoed once more. The 7th child of the Purple Division hasn't taken any celestial jades for 103 years. Do you want to take them all out at once? Wang Lin was startled. Even with his mental fortitude, he couldn't help but be shocked. He took a deep breath and said, "Take them all out." A total of 123,600 celestial jades. As the giant's voice echoed, pieces of celestial jades flew out from his body and quickly piled up 100 feet before Wang Lin. Wang Lin stared at the celestial jades accumulating at a rate visible to the naked eye. He suddenly felt his mouth go dry. He didn't think that the Heavenly Fate sect would calculate celestial jades like this. If there is a disciple that has been empty for tens of thousands of years, then wouldn't the amount of celestial jades reach an unimaginable level? There should be very few celestial jades, so why is there so many in the Heavenly Fate sect? Wang Lin took a deep breath. At this moment, the pile of celestial jades was like a mountain. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He opened his bag of holding and quickly put away all the celestial jades. After doing all of this, he touched his bag of holding. There was still a sense of unreality in his mind. He bitterly smiled and shook his head. No wonder people thought of him as a native cultivator. With his current mental fortitude, he really wasn't strong enough. These more than 100,000 celestial jades were enough to make him jealous. At that moment, no matter who tried to stop him, Wang Lin would have attacked without hesitation. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin's eyes gradually became clear, and he recovered from the shock of seeing the celestial jades. At this moment, the giant figure in the sky gradually dissipated and turned back into a 7-colored cloud. Waves of light came out from the cloud and condensed into a token. Then it flew toward Wang Lin like lightning. Wang Lin raised his right hand. The moment he grabbed the token, his body was pushed back dozens of feet by an invisible force. In a flash, he disappeared. Chapter 488. Outside the Spirit Pavilion, Wang Lin's figure appeared in the void next to the 7th floor. The moment he appeared, he turned into a ray of light and flew off into the distance. Wang Lin's speed was very fast as he charged toward the Purple Forest Pavilion. Now that he had enough celestial jades, Wang Lin decided to go into closed-door cultivation and absorb all the celestial jades within 3 months. He wanted to reach the mid-stage of soul transformation and compete for the title of true disciple of the Heavenly Fate sect. Wang Lin's speed was very fast, and the sound of thunder echoed across the mountain. In the quiet Purple Division, it was very ear-piercing. At this moment, there was an elegant bamboo pavilion where Wang Lin flew past. There were 3 old men sitting inside. They were all the enforcement elders of the Purple Division. One of them looked at where Wang Lin disappeared to, let out a snort, and said with dissatisfaction, "This Wang Lin is too arrogant. He actually dared to move at such a speed in the Purple Division's territory." The old man beside him shook his head and said, "As long as the ancestor's disciple hasn't committed a crime of betraying the sect, it is best to ignore him. Although his cultivation level isn't high, he has a lot of battle experience. Even if the 3 of us joined forces, we would only be able to tie with him." The last person was holding a purple jade teacup. He took a sip and said, "There is no need for us to worry about this matter. The competition between the ancestors' disciples is very intense. The 3 of us have been in the Heavenly Fate sect for thousands of years. Have we not seen through it?" The 3 of them silently pondered. Wang Lin flew the entire way, and after a while, he returned to the purple forest pavilion. His body turned into a ray of light and landed on the ground. The moment his body landed, his expression changed, and he turned around to look into the distance. He saw a ray of light flying toward where Wang Lin was. The ray of light turned in the air and disappeared, revealing the late-stage soul transformation woman. This person was the fourth senior sister. At the same time, a ripple appeared to the left of Wang Lin, and Zhao Xingsha walked out with a gentle expression. A low roar came from the right, and a middle-aged man who was ranked second in the purple division appeared with a gloomy expression. Wang Lin's expression was the same as usual. He calmly looked at the three and slowly said, "Fellow Taoists in the dark, why hide your head and tail? Come out." It's not that he sent someone else, but since the three of them are so fearless, they must have reinforcements. As soon as Wang Lin finished speaking, a long laugh echoed in the air. In the sky above everyone, a blue figure suddenly appeared. It was a young man who looked to be about 30 years old. However, cultivators couldn't judge their age by their appearance. Everything was just a facade. This person wore a blue robe with 3 blue dragons embroidered on his chest. These 3 blue dragons looked ferocious and lifelike, as if they were truly alive. The 3 pairs of dragon eyes, in particular, emitted a soul-stirring expression. Heavenly Fate Sect, third in the blue division, Sima Rufeng. This person had a gentle smile on his face. After he appeared, his gaze fell on Wang Lin. Late stage of soul transformation. His cultivation level is even higher than 4th senior sisters. He should be a peak late stage soul transformation cultivator. Wang Lin's pupils shrank by an undetectable amount. Junior apprentice, Brother Wang Lin, although we aren't in the same sect, I've heard of your name. Today, I'll introduce you to another senior apprentice brother. Senior Brother Wang, since your family is here, come out and meet me. Sima Rufeng faintly smiled and said in a clear voice, "Humph, humph." A cold voice came from the void. This voice contained a hint of coldness and entered Wang Lin's ears. He slowly turned around and saw that a few hundred feet behind him, a person had appeared without him noticing. This person was wearing a blue robe. He stood there like a block of ice that wouldn't melt for tens of thousands of years. He coldly looked at Wang Lin, then no longer looked at him and closed his eyes to rest. This gaze revealed an indifference that seemed to dominate everything. In his eyes, Wang Lin wasn't worthy of him making a move. Although he hasn't reached the ascendant stage, he has already taken half a step in. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy. Today, the 5 of them were here, so their goal was obvious. Wang Lin took a deep breath and placed his right hand on his bag of holding. At this moment, the Purple Division's 4th senior sister, the beautiful woman, revealed a helpless expression and softly said, "7th brother, I was asked by someone to act, so I had no choice but to act. Please forgive me." With that, her right hand formed a seal, and she pointed at the void. She softly chanted, and a ray of silver light suddenly spread out from her body. In the blink of an eye, it covered the surrounding 5 kilometers. Forbidden technique, teleportation. With a shout, the silver light within 5 kilometers suddenly trembled and began to shake violently. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. Aside from this woman, Wang Lin also disappeared. Hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from the Heavenly Fate Sect, there was a giant stone forest that was densely packed together. It was as if many sharp swords had been pulled out from the ground and pierced into the sky. From a distance, this place looked extremely bleak. Killing intent came from the strange stones and intersected with each other to form a monstrous killing intent. At this moment, bursts of silver light appeared above the stone forest. More and more of these silver lights appeared until the area within 5 kilometers was completely covered in silver light. This place was very desolate. Even if there were cultivators here, they were mostly rogue cultivators. When they saw the silver light, they immediately moved away or watched, but no one dared to move forward. Within the depths of the silver light, 2 figures appeared. One was a man and the other was a woman. The woman was very beautiful. She wore a purple robe and looked like a celestial. Her flowing, black hair made her look even more delicate. The man also wore a purple robe. His appearance was ordinary, but his eyes were cold. He stood there with his back straight like a pine tree. He was very proud and aloof. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he calmly said, "Fourth senior sister's teleportation spell has really opened my eyes." When a woman used this spell earlier, Wang Lin immediately felt the space around him become like liquid lead, making it impossible for him to teleport away. In addition, there were 4 strands of killing intent locked onto Wang Lin. If he moved, these strands of killing intent would immediately appear and madly attack him. These 4 strands of killing intent were sent by Zhao Xingsha, second senior brother, and the Cyan and Blue faction. Their goal wasn't to kill Wang Lin, but to intimidate him. With so many people working together, Wang Lin didn't dare to move recklessly, so he simply allowed them to teleport him. Fourth senior sister calmly looked at Wang Lin and slowly said, "If seventh senior sister's spell catches your eye, then I'll pass it down to you after everything is over. But for now, I hope that you can quietly stay here and cultivate in seclusion for 3 years. After 3 years, I'll come and let you out." Wang Lin's expression remained the same as he looked around. There were many strange boulders here, and some of them had deep grooves carved into them by someone's spell. Looking down from the sky, it was obvious that this was a formation. It's just a mere formation. Does senior sister really think that it can trap me? Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he waved his right hand. A white light suddenly appeared in his hand and turned into a sword of light. It charged toward one of the boulders on the ground. However, this sword of light didn't even travel 100 meters before it strangely dimmed. In the end, it turned into specks of light and disappeared. Wang Lin's brow furrowed. Junior brother, this formation was placed by eldest brother. If he didn't have absolute confidence, how could he trap you here? So don't waste your energy. Fourth senior sister let out a sigh. Her body turned into a ray of silver light and flew out of the range of the silver light. She looked back at Wang Lin and softly said, "Eldest brother, I have returned a favor from back then. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other." With that, she flew off into the distance. Her direction was the Heavenly Fates sect. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stared at her gradually disappearing figure. His eyes became cold as he touched his bag of holding, and the celestial sword appeared in his hand. He waved his hand, and a ray of sword energy that was several dozen feet wide flew through the air and slashed down toward the void. At first, the sword energy was very powerful, but the longer it went, the weaker it became. After 3 breaths of time, it completely disappeared. Wang Lin pondered a bit, then his body flickered and he charged up. As he charged up, he felt a powerful force pressing down on him from the sky, preventing him from flying up. This force became stronger and stronger until it was monstrous. Wang Lin let out a roar. Not only did he not retreat, but he moved even faster and charged up several hundred feet. At this moment, from a distance, a purple figure could be seen flying up into the sky from a stone forest. However, there was a silver light shrouding this person. As this person flew higher and higher, the silver light also moved and stretched into the shape of the word convex. The veins on Wang Lin's face swelled up, and he let out a roar as he flew up several dozen feet. At this moment, the force from above was equivalent to the full power of a late-stage soul transformation cultivator. Wang Lin's face turned pale, and his body shot back like a meteor. His speed was unimaginably fast as he landed on the ground. However, when he was a few hundred feet from the ground, Wang Lin's body rotated to dissolve the force on his body. Finally, he stood on top of a rock with a gloomy expression. He silently stared at the sky. After a while, he slapped his bag of holding, and the celestial sword flew out. Wang Lin pointed forward, and Su Ligua immediately understood. He let out a roar and charged toward where Wang Lin pointed. Behind him, the half-moon blade followed closely. The blade and sword charged into the sky and whistled through the air. The resistance appeared once more, but it was even stronger than before. It was as if the sky was pressing down on them, and Su Ligua's miserable scream echoed. "Master, this won't do. We can't break this damn thing. The little blade is also lacking a bit. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He waved his right hand, and the celestial sword flew back. The half-moon blade circled the celestial sword and let out waves of blade hymns as if it was unwilling to give up. They want to trap me here and let me out after the true disciple competition is over. How can I let them do as they wish? Since this place is desolate, I'll cultivate here and try to reach the mid-stage of soul transformation as soon as possible. Then I'll be able to leave this place and go directly to the Heavenly Fate sect. Wang Lin jumped off the rock and charged into the depths of the stone forest. Chapter 489. Deep within the stone forest, Wang Lin moved like lightning. After many attempts, Wang Lin finally found the border of the stone forest. The border was covered by the silver light, and Wang Lin couldn't charge out of it. He sat down cross-legged on a stalagmite and slapped his bag of holding. Suddenly, a large amount of celestial jades turned into rays of white light that circled around him. From a distance, Wang Lin was in the center of the celestial jades, making him very eye-catching. Wang Lin's eyes were like torches as his hands formed a seal and he pointed forward. Suddenly, one of the celestial jades flew out and landed in front of Wang Lin's finger. At the moment Wang Lin's finger touched the celestial jade, a series of popping sounds came from the jade. Large amounts of cracks appeared on the jade, and its color quickly turned from milky white to gray. Finally, it dimmed and turned into dust. Before it even landed on the ground, it was blown away by the wind created by the celestial jade and scattered on the ground. After a piece of celestial jade shattered, another one flew over. At this moment, Wang Lin's finger was like a fire in the night sky, and the celestial jades were like moths flying toward it without a care in the world. 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces. For pieces, a large amount of celestial jades were being absorbed by Wang Lin and turned into dust. This process didn't stop. It continued. Wang Lin's movements didn't change. His right index finger continued to absorb celestial spiritual energy into his body, merging it with the celestial spiritual energy in his body. Time passed bit by bit. Wang Lin had already forgotten about the concept of time and was focused on breathing and absorbing celestial spiritual energy. Gradually, a golden halo appeared behind Wang Lin. This halo emitted a gentle glow, and the celestial spiritual energy inside was extremely domineering. The immortal bracelets would only appear when one's immortal energy reached a saturation point. By fusing it into one's body, one's immortal energy would have a backup, and they would have less to worry about in battle. Wang Lin didn't stop his breathing exercises. Instead, he continued. By this point, there weren't many immortal jades left in the area. Wang Lin waved his divine sense, causing a vast quantity of immortal jades to fly out from his bag of holding, which then began to swirl about. At this moment, Wang Lin's eyes were profound, and it seemed like smoke was roiling within them. He looked at the celestial jades around him, pondered for a moment, and then took a deep breath. As he inhaled, the celestial jades surrounding Wang Lin began to collapse from the inside out. The collapse spread rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, it began to spread outward. As vast quantities of immortal jades collapsed, boundless immortal power emanated out. Without exception, the immortal power surged madly toward Wang Lin. As the immortal power entered his body, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he began to cultivate at full speed. 3 months of time passed in a flash. Planet Tianyun welcomed a heaven-shaking event that happened once every 10,000 years. Today was Tianyunzi's 10,000-year birthday. Tianyunzi celebrates his birthday once every 10,000 years. Very few people know how many times he has celebrated his birthday. However, without exception, Planet Tianyun would be in a state of prosperity during his birthday. Even the Cultivation Alliance would send messengers to bring gifts to Tianyunzi. Even on a rank 7 cultivation planet, very few people could do this. Only Tianyunzi could. 1 month ago, the purple fog formation around planet Tianyun was cancelled and replaced with a purple fog belt. A large amount of Heavenly Fate sect disciples were sent out to greet the guests. In addition to the outsiders, the native cultivators of planet Tianyun also came to the Heavenly Fate sect to offer their gifts. A large amount of cultivators from the 5 smaller planets around planet Tianyun also came to the main planet to celebrate Tianyunzi's birthday. Even the old monsters that occupied a small cultivation planet on their own came to planet Tianyun. It could be said that all the sects and cultivators on planet Tianyun knew about this event. In 1 month of time, the 7 divisions of the Heavenly Fate sect opened up a large amount of living space for the guests. Almost all of the disciples of the 7 divisions of Tianyunzi were busy. A large amount of people from other sects and other cultivation planets had come, so it was inevitable to talk and interact with each other. None of the people who came to congratulate Tianyunzi were weak, so there was a lot of benefit in interacting with each other. On this day, the person in charge of guarding the purple fog was the head apprentice brother of the purple division, Zhao Xingsha. He wore a purple robe with golden threads embroidered on it. He had a warm jade pendant on his waist and an auspicious sword on his back. He gave off a scholarly aura, and with his gentle expression, anyone who looked at him would have a good impression of him. At this moment, he was standing in the purple fog, looking down at planet Tianyun. He revealed a smile and muttered to himself, "This is the first time I've seen Master's birthday celebration. I made a lot of friends, especially the junior sect master of the Cloud Civ sect. His cultivation level is not weak, and we get along quite well. Unfortunately, 7th junior brother won't be able to make it. 7th junior brother, you and I have a grudge, but you shouldn't have tried to steal the true disciple title from me. During Master's birthday celebration, the true disciple of the purple division will appear. 2nd junior brother has already given up, and I don't care about 3rd junior brother. As for 4th junior brother, if she wants to compete with me, I have my own methods." 5th junior brother was punished by Master and sent into closed-door cultivation in the heavenly prison for 100 years. 6th junior brother's life or death is unknown, and it's hard to say if he will return. As a result, the true disciple title belongs to me. Zhao Xingsha's eyes revealed a mysterious light, and he let out a smile. The purple fog suddenly began to churn. Zhao Xingsha's expression changed, and he revealed a kind expression as he looked into the distance. In the distance, a giant golden chariot slowly flew over. This chariot was too big. It was more than 10,000 feet tall. It was completely golden and had countless thorns sticking out of it. There were 4 giant demonic beasts below the chariot. These 4 demonic beasts were pulling the chariot, which was why it was moving so fast. Before it got close, there was a loud rumble that came from the 4 demonic beasts. The roars came from the 4 demonic beasts below the chariot. These 4 demonic beasts were all very big and had shocking strength. They could fly for a short period of time. Although they didn't have any spells, they couldn't be underestimated. There were 10 people standing on the chariot. They were all wearing silver robes and had cold eyes. They were standing at the front, back, left, and right of the chariot. At the center of the war chariot, there was a huge seat. At this moment, there was a person lying on the seat. This person's body was extremely plump, and he looked like a round ball as he lay there. However, his skin was sparkling and translucent, as if he was made of crystal. Anyone who looked at him would be dazzled. The moment Zhao Xingsha saw the chariot, he immediately recognized who it was. He quickly walked up and respectfully said, "Junior Heavenly Fate Sect's Purple Division's Zhao Xingsha greets Senior Golden Devil." The golden chariot stopped 1,000 feet away from Zhao Xingsha, and a powerful pressure locked onto Zhao Xingsha. The 4 demonic beasts stared at Zhao Xingsha with ferocious eyes. Roars came from their mouths, and a large amount of saliva flowed down from the corners of their mouths. The 10 people wearing silver robes on the chariot all stared at Zhao Xingsha with the same cold gazes. They didn't say a word. Cold sweat covered Zhao Xingsha's face. It was because he knew who Golden Devil was that he lost his composure. This Master Golden Devil was a sovereign of a small planet outside planet Tianyun. He occupied a planet by himself and was very domineering. Once someone provoked him, he would retaliate like crazy. He was also very protective of his own people and had a strange temper. If he didn't agree with someone, he would immediately kill them. Countless people had died by his hand. However, his cultivation was heaven-defying, and aside from a few people, no one could subdue him. Rumor has it that Golden Devil's cultivation had surpassed the ethereal and corporeal intents and reached that legendary step. The ball-like person on the chariot frowned and shouted, "What are you standing there for? Quickly lead the way." Zhao Xingsha took a deep breath. His expression became gentle once more, and he respectfully said, "Senior, please." With that, he waved his right hand, and the purple mist parted, revealing a long passage. Under Zhao Xingsha's lead, the giant golden chariot slowly flew toward planet Tianyan. Similar things happened almost every day on planet Tianyan. The arrival of powerful cultivators from the surrounding cultivation planets caused the entire Heavenly Fates sect to be filled with discussions. From time to time, they would spar with each other, but they all had a sense of propriety, so nothing too nasty happened. The 7 sects of the Heavenly Fates sect, including the area tens of thousands of kilometers around each sect, were filled with beautiful pavilions. These pavilions were built over the past few months with spiritual energy in order to provide a place to rest for everyone who came to attend the birthday celebration. At this moment, if one were to look from the sky, they would see a mountain at the center of planet Tianyan. This mountain was where the main sect of the Heavenly Fates sect was located, and around the mountain were 7 stars that emitted 7 colored lights. These 7 stars were the 7 sects of the Heavenly Fates sect. Even further away were circles of pavilions. They were so dense that it was impossible to see the end of them. Every time Tian Yunzi's birthday celebration was held, the number of people who came to attend was unimaginable. However, in the end, no more than 100 people were able to enter the main sect. Sometimes, only a few dozen people would enter. As more and more people arrived, the day of Tian Yunzi's birthday celebration arrived. On this day, there were no clouds in the sky, and a gentle breeze blew by, carrying the fragrance of flowers and plants. There were a total of 8 birthday celebration locations in the Heavenly Fates sect: red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. Each of these 7 sects had their own birthday celebration location. Aside from the 7 birthday banquets, the main sect of the Heavenly Fates sect was where the All-Seer's birthday banquet was being held. Anyone that could sit, there was no ordinary person. At the very least, Master Golden Devil didn't have a chance to participate. With his identity, he could only sit at the Red Division's birthday celebration. Chapter 490. Hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from the Heavenly Fate School, there was a long-haired man sitting on top of a stalagmite. His body was surrounded by a dense aura, and from a distance it was a complete blur. The surroundings were extremely quiet. Suddenly, the man opened his eyes. Within the blur, 2 ghostly lights that were like bright moons suddenly appeared. At this moment, the color of the sky suddenly changed. Countless layers of clouds spread out in all directions, revealing a clear sky. This person raised his hand and pressed down at the sky. Suddenly, the dense aura around him began to churn like a raging wave. The clouds began to violently surge and then spread out in all directions. A series of cracking sounds reverberated through the air. Countless cracks appeared on the surrounding stone forest. Gradually, the cracking sounds grew louder and louder. Finally, with a series of explosions, the stone forest collapsed and turned into dust that scattered into the air. In the blink of an eye, there was only one stalagmite left standing in the stone forest within a radius of 5 kilometers. This stalagmite was the place where the long-haired man was sitting cross-legged. This person's eyes shined brightly as he opened his mouth and inhaled. The dense aura that had spread out for more than 5 kilometers immediately returned and entered Wang Lin's mouth like a funnel. This scene was like a dragon swallowing fog or a whale swallowing a sea of fragrance. When the last bit of aura was sucked in, the long-haired man suddenly raised his head and let out a heaven-shaking roar. As he roared, his body flickered, and he stood up from the stalagmite. He wasn't very tall, but under the moonlight, he seemed to be able to support the heavens and earth. Anyone who saw him would never be able to forget him for the rest of their lives. The man softly muttered, "Purple division. I'm coming." He was Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were calm as he took a step forward and suddenly disappeared from the stalagmite. When he reappeared, he was thousands of feet above the ground. The silver screen that surrounded the area immediately created a powerful force that prevented Wang Lin from flying up. At this moment, he was at the highest point he had flown up to 3 months ago. It would be very difficult to fly up again, but now, Wang Lin's expression was calm. Not only did he not slow down, but he became even faster. He shot up like a meteor into the sky. As a result, the force of the silver screen increased by countless fold. Under the crazy accumulation, it had reached a terrifying degree. Wang Lin's body slightly paused. If one looked from a distance, they would be able to see that his current position was like a silver mountain. Wang Lin was the peak of the mountain. The silver screen fell down from 3 inches above his head and formed a cone that covered the area within 5 kilometers. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he raised his right thumb. Suddenly, rays of light gathered on his thumb. It was as if all the light of the world had been stolen, and the only thing left was his thumb. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. He pointed his thumb forward and pressed it down 3 inches above his head. The instant his thumb pressed down, the entire silver screen suddenly shook. Cracking sounds could be heard as cracks appeared on it. From a distance, it looked as if the silver mountain was about to collapse. However, in the blink of an eye, the cracks disappeared and the silver screen returned to normal. Wang Lin's eyes darkened. He once again used the finger of death and pointed at the silver screen. A loud rumbling sound reverberated through the sky. It was as if the entire ground was shaking. The screen was shaking violently, and cracks appeared crazily on it. However, almost at the same time as the cracks appeared, the light from the silver screen swept past, and all the cracks disappeared. Wang Lin's face darkened. He let out a light snort and raised his right index finger. His eyes were filled with an evil light. "Demonic finger of death," Wang Lin softly said. Bursts of ghostly light appeared from all directions and gathered toward Wang Lin's index finger. At the same time, the celestial spiritual energy in Wang Lin's body also moved toward his index finger. Sidhu once said that the higher the cultivation level, the more powerful the demonic finger of death will be. Now that I've reached the mid-stage of soul transformation, the power of this spell is several times stronger than before. I can definitely break this formation. As the celestial spiritual energy entered Wang Lin's body, Wang Lin's expression began to flicker. An evil aura was released from his body as a purple spark slowly appeared on his right index finger. A monstrous demonic aura suddenly spread out from Wang Lin's fingertip. This purple demonic aura immediately covered the surrounding 5 kilometers. It was as if a demon king had been born. At this moment, Wang Lin's body was filled with demonic aura. All of the celestial spiritual energy in his body turned into a demonic flame on his fingertip. This process didn't cause him any discomfort. Instead, it made him feel very comfortable. This kind of feeling was very addictive. Soon, the purple spark on his fingertip became brighter and brighter. The aura it gave off was several times stronger than when Wang Lin used this spell 3 months ago. Wang Lin's right index finger pointed forward. At this moment, his index finger pierced through the silver screen 3 inches above his head. At the moment his right index finger pierced through the silver screen, purple sparks appeared. The purple sparks spread like crazy with Wang Lin's index finger as the center. This silver screen seemed to be made of paper. Once it was ignited, it began to burn rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the purple flame spread like crazy from top to bottom. After 3 breaths of time, the purple flame descended from the sky and formed a circle of purple flames. This was the area where the silver screen trapped Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were cold. The most important thing for him right now was to get back to the Heavenly Fate sect. However, He was unfamiliar with this place, so Wang Lin didn't know which direction the Heavenly Fate sect was in. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he slapped his bag of holding, and a soul flag appeared in his hand. He shook it, and an origin soul flew out. Wang Lin calmly said, "Chao Ido." The origin's soul trembled and suddenly opened its eyes. It first looked at Wang Lin in a daze, and then looked around. After looking around, its eyes suddenly lit up. After looking around a few more times, its eyes became brighter and brighter. The origin soul immediately exclaimed, This is planet Tianyun. This Chao Ido was someone Wang Lin took in when he went to Serene. After all, Wang Lin was unfamiliar with planet Tianyun, so it was easy for him to get lost. When he found out that Chao Ido was from planet Tianyun, he was tempted. He promised to find a soul transformation body for Chao Ido, so that Chao Ido would willingly become Wang Lin's guide on planet Tianyun. Wang Lin quickly asked, "Chao Ido, do you know the way to the Heavenly Fate sect from here?" Chao Ido revealed a contemplative expression as he pointed to the west and said, "About 300,000 miles to the west from here is the Heavenly Fate School's main gate." Wang Lin raised his head to look in the direction Chao Ido was pointing. His eyes lit up as he put Chao Ido away and quickly flew off like lightning. Wang Lin's speed had already reached its limit. Along the way, there were endless rumbles of thunder and the sound of wind breaking. Wang Lin turned into a ray of light as he flew toward the Heavenly Fate sect at his fastest speed. As he flew, Wang Lin's eyes became even colder. From the moment he entered the Heavenly Fate sect, the people of the Purple Division had been targeting him. Wang Lin endured and endured until he finally made a move to change the situation. However, Zhao Xingsha and company used external forces to force Wang Lin out of the Purple Division and trapped him in the Stone Forest. If it wasn't for the fact that Wang Lin had obtained a large amount of celestial jades when he was about to make a breakthrough, he would have been trapped here for several years. Once he was released, his life and death would no longer be in his hands and would be under the control of others. Wang, if people don't offend me, I won't offend them. However, if someone offends me, I'll kill them. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he quickly teleported away. Just like this, Wang Lin teleported from time to time along the way. Finally, on the afternoon of the second day, he arrived at the Heavenly Fate sect. At this moment, the Heavenly Fate sect was very lively and filled with people. There were banquets everywhere, and all kinds of wine and celestial fruits were being sold everywhere. After the 7 days of celebration, it would be time for the All-Seer to teach Tao. After that, it would be time for the Purple Sect and the Yellow Sect to compete for the title of True Disciple of the All-Seer. This series of events will push the celebration to its peak. Inside the Purple Division, a large amount of white clouds was stolen from the sky by someone. After the white clouds were condensed by spiritual energy, they were as hard as the earth. From a distance, the entire Purple Division was covered in white clouds for hundreds of kilometers. It looked like a celestial realm. There were tables and large amounts of disciples of the Purple Division waiting to receive guests. The people attending the birthday banquet were all from a native sects of planet Tianyun. It wasn't that they didn't have powerful cultivators, but there weren't many of them. Their overall strength was at the bottom of the planet, so they could only sit at the banquet in the Purple Division. In the banquet above the Purple Division, senior apprentice brother Zhao Xingsha naturally sat at the head of the table. To his right was the second senior apprentice brother, the middle-aged man, third senior apprentice brother by way, and fourth senior apprentice sister, the late-stage soul transformation woman. Behind them were 3 empty tables. Fifth brother was punished to go into closed-door cultivation, sixth brother was out, and seventh brother Wang Lin wasn't here, so there were 3 empty tables. To the left of Zhao Xingsha sat 6 elders wearing different clothes. These 6 were the head elders of the 6 sects on planet Tianyun. The one with the lowest cultivation level was at the early stage of Ascendant, and the one with the highest cultivation level was at the peak of the late stage of Ascendant. Even so, the 6 of them can only sit here because their sects are too small. Today is the 7th day of Master's 10,000th birthday celebration. Tomorrow will be the day of Master's lecture. Everyone, if my purple sect has been lacking in hospitality for the past few days, I hope you won't take offense." Zhao Xingsha stood up with a smile, raised his wine cup, and drank it in one gulp. Although Zhao Xingsha's voice was calm, everyone within 50 kilometers could hear it clearly. The people at the tables all raised their wine cups to show their respect. Just at this moment, a ray of purple light came from the east and charged toward this place. Chapter 491. The purple aura came from the east and dyed the sky purple. The sound of something breaking through the air echoed across the world. At the top of the purple division, the cultivators from the various sects on planet Tian Yin noticed this anomaly. They all put down their wine cups and looked toward the east. Not only did he escape, but he has also reached the mid-stage of soul transformation. Zhao Xingsha's expression became extremely ugly. He crushed the wine cup in his hand, and it immediately turned to dust. He was not the only one. Second brother, who was sitting next to Zhao Xingsha, also revealed a shocked expression. His eyes darkened as he suddenly stood up and moved his feet. His entire body turned into a ray of purple light that shot toward the horizon. Bai Wei's eyes revealed a mysterious light. He picked up his wine cup and took a sip with a smile on his face. As for the fourth sister that was trapping Wang Lin, her eyes were calm, and she didn't move at all. The second brother of the purple division, the middle-aged man, charged out like lightning and roared. "My heavenly fate sect has a joyous occasion. Anyone who dares to force their way in will be killed without mercy." He didn't wait for Wang Lin to speak and directly accused him of a crime. As he spoke, his hand formed a seal. He waved his hand, and he shouted, "Power of Earth." As soon as the words left his mouth, an earthen yellow glow appeared in his hand. It transformed into a vast expanse of sand that moved like a swarm of bees. It shot toward the violet chi coming from the east at a speed several times faster than the man before him. Wang Lin's eyes lit up like a torch as his body flickered, and he appeared on the white cloud. At this moment, the sand formed by the middle-aged man's power of earth had already arrived. Wang Lin's eyes were calm, without the slightest ripple. He didn't stop as he slapped his bag of holding, and the restriction flag appeared in his hand. With a shake of the flag, countless restrictions flew out and connected with each other to form a black tornado. With one turn, a powerful gust of wind appeared, and the howling of the wind echoed across the world. The sand that came from the scoop was pulled by the wind of the restriction. The moment it flew toward Wang Lin, it was split in half by the wind of the restriction. It turned into two rays of yellow light and merged with the tornado. Wang Lin calmly walked through the tornado and glanced at second brother coldly. He said calmly, "You have provoked me twice. If I don't kill you, I am not Wang." As he spoke, Wang Lin raised his right index finger. The celestial force in his body suddenly reversed, and a trace of demonic fire appeared at the tip of his finger. The middle-aged man's expression changed, and he shouted, "Old Seven, today is Master's birthday banquet. With so many fellow Taoists present, don't be impudent." Wang Lin's expression was calm as he glanced at the surrounding cultivators. All of them were watching coldly, without any intention of helping. "Fellow cultivators here, today is the battle for the inheritance of my purple division. If outsiders participate, don't blame my heavenly fate sect for not holding you accountable." As Wang Lin spoke, he took a step forward and pointed at the middle-aged man with his right index finger. The middle-aged man quickly retreated. He had suffered from this demonic fire before, so when he saw it again, he couldn't help but want to retreat. Just at this moment, Zhao Xingsha took a step forward with a gloomy expression. With one step, he arrived before the middle-aged man. He looked at Wang Lin and said, "Old Seven, return to your position. The battle for the purple division is not like today." Wang Lin didn't even look at Zhao Xingsha. He flicked his finger and the demonic fire appeared. The moment the demonic fire left his finger, the demonic fire became even more monstrous. At this moment, the surrounding white clouds were dyed purple. Demonic fire. Some of the experienced and knowledgeable people from the other sects behind the tables immediately recognized the source of the flames. The Heavenly Fate sect is all about following one's heart, so it's not strange for a disciple to be able to use the demonic fire. However, this person is very unfamiliar. I never knew this person existed in the Purple Division. I heard fellow Taoist Zhao call this person Old Seven. Could this person be the seventh disciple of the Purple Division? Wasn't Sun Yin also ranked seventh in the Purple Division? All kinds of discussions entered the ears of the crowd. The demonic fire flew toward the middle-aged man. Zhao Xingsha's expression was gloomy. His right hand formed a seal, and he softly said, "Great Freedom World Technique." The moment these words left his mouth, rings of white light suddenly appeared on Zhao Xingsha's right hand. They spread out in all directions and immediately enveloped the demonic flames that were charging at him. Wang Lin revealed a mocking expression and softly said, "Explode." In an instant, the demonic fire that was surrounded by the rings of light began to flicker violently. In the blink of an eye, there was a heaven-shaking rumble as the demonic fire self-destructed. The self-destruction of the demonic fire came from inside out. A demonic energy that only a high-level demonic cultivator could refine poured out from the point of the demonic fire's explosion. However, the countless purple sparks, with a strong impact, directly swept up the ring of light that surrounded it. The ring of light could only resist for a while before it immediately collapsed and turned into rings of purple flames that quickly burned to ashes. In just 3 breaths of time, all of the rings of light turned into rings of flames that burned to ashes and disappeared. Zhao Xingsha's expression was extremely ugly as he quickly retreated. Not only him, but the second disciple of the Purple Division and the middle-aged man also retreated without any hesitation. Aside from the two of them, the cultivators of the various sects at the banquet all used their techniques to scatter in all directions. In the blink of an eye, there were no longer any cultivators within a 10-meter radius. The self-destruction of the demonic fire spread out for 10,000 meters before gradually disappearing. All of the tables within 3,000 meters had turned into ashes. Even the white clouds in the area had been incinerated, leaving behind a huge hole that was 3 meters wide. Wang Lin moved like lightning. Without a word, many celestial swords appeared in his hand, and he swung them. A 100-meter-long sword energy appeared and slashed down on the middle-aged man. At the same time, the half-moon blade followed closely behind the celestial sword. The second disciple of the Purple Division saw that he couldn't retreat in time and let out a roar. His hands formed a seal, and he shouted, "Forbidden spell, immortal demon body." As soon as he said this, crackling sounds came from his body. Almost at the same time, the celestial sword ray arrived. He turned into a cloud of black mist. The celestial sword swept past and split the fog in half. However, the 2 clouds of fog immediately fused together and became one. Then it quickly sped to the side. Its goal was obviously to escape. Wang Lin sneered and threw the celestial sword. As Su Liguo roared, the celestial sword turned into a ray of sword energy and charged out. The half-moon blade was 1 step faster and caught up to the black mist in the blink of an eye. The black mist scattered, and the middle-aged man let out a miserable groan. Zhao Xingsha stared at Wang Lin and sneered, but he didn't stop him. Wang Lin didn't even look at Zhao Xingsha. His body flickered, and he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was where the black mist retreated. Wang Lin coldly said, "You can't escape." The scattered black mist was fusing back together, and the middle-aged man roared, "Today is Master's birthday celebration. If you kill me, Master will kick you out of the sect." Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He slapped his bag of holding, and the soul lasher appeared in his hand. With a snap, the black mist collapsed again. At the same time, this person's origin soul was forced out of the black mist. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The moment this person's origin soul appeared, Wang Lin's body moved, and his right hand reached out to grab the origin soul. The origin soul let out a scream and teleported away in a flash. Wang Lin's eyes became cold, and he suddenly lashed out with the soul lasher. After studying this whip for a long time, He was very familiar with it. This whip didn't have a length, and it was as long as the eye could see. With a "pa" sound, the origin soul that appeared 1,000 feet away trembled as if it was going to collapse. A deep mark appeared on its back, and a large amount of celestial force leaked out. Wang Lin's body flickered and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was right in front of the origin soul and directly grabbed it. The origin soul's eyes were filled with fear. Just as it was about to speak, it was grabbed by Wang Lin. Wang Lin took out the soul flag and threw it into the origin soul. Then he turned around, looked at Zhao Xingsha, and said, "The next one is you." Zhao Xingsha stared at Wang Lin and suddenly laughed. "Seventh brother, you killed second brother and caused a great disaster. There's no need for me to do anything. Where's the enforcement elder? Capture this person and hand him over to master." Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged as he said coldly, "Anyone who obstructs Wang today is my enemy." As he spoke, he strode forward and traversed 300 m towards Zhao Xingsha. There were a few enforcement elders among the surrounding purple sect disciples, but at that moment, they revealed hesitant expressions. They looked at each other, but none of them took half a step forward. Zhao Xingsha's face looked ugly. He took a few steps back and suddenly turned around to look at Bai Wei and Old Four. He shouted, "Old Four!" The woman, who had been calm this whole time, raised her head and coldly looked at Zhao Xingsha. She calmly said, "I have already repaid your kindness 3 months ago and agreed not to compete with you for the true disciple title. Now, give me a reason to help you." Zhao Xingsha gritted his teeth and said, "Fine, good." He turned his head and stared at Wang Lin with a gloomy look in his eyes. "Seventh brother, I originally planned on using this spell during the fight for the position of true disciple, but since you forced me, I'll let you experience the power of this spell in advance." As Zhao Xingsha spoke, his hands formed a seal, and he began to chant a complicated incantation. Wang Lin's expression was the same as ever. He opened his mouth, and the honorable soul flag appeared in his hand. He shook it, and the few remaining primary souls flew out. Under Wang Lin's command, these primary souls immediately whistled out and fiercely pounced towards Zhao Xingsha. At the same time, Wang Lin swung his right hand, and the beast repelling collar flew out with a bang. It turned into the god-slaying war chariot and landed at the side. I don't know how many chapters I'll be writing today, but I'll write at least 3 chapters. Chapter 492. Zhao Xingsha suddenly raised his head. A huge female illusory figure had suddenly appeared above his head. It was 1,000 feet tall and had 2 horns on its head. Although it was blurry, an extremely dense demonic aura was being emitted from it. This monster was extremely tall and sturdy. On its indistinct body, faint blue demonic markings flickered, especially on its enormous palm, its dense fingernails that were like flying swords, all of which displayed how extraordinary this monster was. At this moment, the demonic shadow's eyes were closed, but its giant head was moving slightly, as if it could wake up at any moment. The lower the shadow went, the more blurry it became. At the very bottom was Zhao Xingsha. His face was pale, and it was clear that using this spell was quite a burden on him. At this moment, there was a strange rune flashing between his eyebrows. Every time the rune flashed, the demonic shadow behind him would become a bit more corporeal. At the same time, Zhao Xingsha's body would become a bit weaker. The moment this thing appeared, all the cultivators from the other sects were shocked. They quickly got up and scattered. Even the 6 ascendant cultivators revealed a strange light in their eyes. Ancient demon? The head elder of the Water Cloud sect, Emperor Exalt Jiang, frowned and softly said, "The only late-stage ascendant cultivator who hasn't said a word in the past 7 days and only glanced at Wang Lin when he used the devilish fire is the only late-stage ascendant cultivator here." His voice was filled with doubt, and it was clear that he wasn't completely sure. An old man beside Jiang Tianzun asked, "Fellow Taoist Jiang, could this really be the legendary ancient demon that once appeared during the most auspicious era?" Jiang Tianzun pondered for a bit before replying, "Very similar. Although the main soul that Wang Lin had released had seen the demonic shadow, it still charged toward Zhao Xingsha. Zhao Xingsha's eyes revealed a strange light as he slowly raised his right hand and pointed at the air. As he moved, the giant shadow behind him moved as well. The demonic shadow slowly raised its right hand and pointed at the air along with Zhao Xingsha. Immediately, a complicated aura spread out from Zhao Xingsha's finger. More accurately speaking, this aura was being released from the illusory finger behind Zhao Xingsha. This aura far surpassed spiritual force and was even comparable to celestial force. It was comparable to the demonic energy from Wang Lin's demonic fire. Demonic energy. Jiang Tianzuan took a deep breath and said in a deep voice. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He saw a red whirlpool appear where Zhao Xingsha's right hand had pointed. This whirlpool spun crazily, and the primary soul released by the Honorable Soul banner flew uncontrollably toward this whirlpool. Zhao Xingsha's face was pale, but a sliver of green appeared on the face of the huge, illusory figure behind him. Its eyes trembled slightly, as if it would awaken at any moment. A cold light flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. With a thought, the Honorable Soul banner appeared in his hand. With a shake of his hand, the Honorable Soul banner grew to a size of 100 feet. It wrapped around the primary soul and forcefully pulled them back into the whirlpool. The moment Zhao Xingsha withdrew his main soul, the giant shadow behind him let out a roar that shook the heavens and earth. Its eyes suddenly opened, revealing a gaze that would cause any living being's heart to tremble. This gaze was unusually cold. It was several times colder than those who cultivated the emotionless Tao. It was even colder than those who cultivated the emotionless art. It was even colder than those who cultivated the emotionless art. Wang Lin had only seen this gaze in the eyes of the heavenly law messenger, who had transformed into the god of luck. The moment the huge demonic figure opened its eyes, it immediately raised its right hand and quickly grabbed at Wang Lin. The moment it raised its hand, Zhao Xingsha's body also raised its hand as if it was out of his control. Without saying a word, Wang Lin immediately retreated. At the same time, his hands formed a seal, and he suddenly retreated to the side of the god-slaying war chariot and slapped it with his right hand. A loud roar echoed from the god-slaying war chariot. The unyielding spirit beast appeared from the god-slaying war chariot and stared at the demonic figure with its ferocious eyes. With another roar, the spirit beast charged at the demonic figure without a care for anything else. The demonic figure's eyes lit up, and it gave up on Wang Lin. Instead, it landed on the spirit beast and changed the direction of its right hand to grab at the spirit beast. The spirit beast let out an unyielding roar that echoed across the sky. Its body turned into a meteor as it pulled the god-slaying war chariot toward the demonic figure. A violent explosion sounded out. The soul beast's body completely ignored the demonic creature's right claw and directly pierced through it, burrowing into the demonic creature's body. A strange expression appeared on the enormous demonic figure's face. He reached out with his right hand and pulled out the spirit beast. He looked at it coldly, then opened his mouth and was about to take a deep breath. Evil creature, stop for the old man. A loud roar came from the Heavenly Fate sect's main sect. As soon as the voice rang out, the demonic being's body trembled, and a conflicted look appeared in its eyes. In the end, it sighed and let go of the soul beast. Immediately, its body shrank down, turning into a beam of azure light that shot back into Zhao Xingsha's forehead. The symbol on Zhao Xingsha's forehead flashed a few more times before slowly disappearing. Zhao Xingsha's body trembled, and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. He endured the backlash as he stared at Wang Lin and let out a sinister smile. After the spirit beast was released, it strangely didn't struggle or roar. Instead, it stared at Zhao Xingsha and returned to the god-slaying war chariot. The beast trap had returned. At this moment, a red cloud came from the horizon and gathered in the sky. In the end, it turned into an old man wearing a red robe. His face was red, and he reeked of alcohol. There was a giant gourd on his back. After he appeared, He let out a drunken burp and cursed. Were you guys fighting for? If it wasn't for you guys fighting, would I have been kicked here by that old Fartianyan to teach you guys a lesson? You caused me to only drink half of my wine. Wang Lin's expression was calm. His right hand grabbed the beast trap and his body moved. With one step, he arrived below the fourth sister, behind the third table. This was his seat. Wang Lin waved his sleeve and calmly sat down. Zhao Xingsha looked at the red-faced old man and said, "Disciple greets Martial Uncle Qi Lai." The red-faced old man looked at Zhao Xingsha. "You know me?" Zhao Xingsha respectfully cupped his hands and said, "Disciple met Martial Uncle 1,000 years ago when I joined the Heavenly Fates sect." The old man let out a snort and said, "Even if you know him, it is useless. The demon spirit inside your body has only just formed, yet you forcefully used it. Just wait for your master's punishment." With that, his hand reached out and grabbed Zhao Xingsha. Then his eyes lit up and fell on Wang Lin. His eyes revealed a hint of interest, and he smiled. "Little fellow, your master has high hopes for you. Your senior brother won't appear during the battle for the true disciple title, so you can rest assured." As he spoke, the old man cupped his fists towards the cultivators of the various sects in the surroundings and laughed heartily. "Everyone, I presume there are some among you who recognize this old Taoist. Today, a few juniors from the Purple Sect are fighting and have spoiled the mood. I hope you don't take offense." Empyrean Sovereign Jiang looked at Qi Lai and respectfully said, "Senior is overthinking things. How could we spoil the mood? It should be said that after seeing their battle, I feel very gratified. The Heavenly Fate Sect's Purple Division finally has a successor." After he spoke, people immediately followed. In the end, almost all the cultivators here said the same thing. Qi Lai laughed and shook his head. "Don't flatter these unfilial children. After today's battle, tomorrow will be the day my senior brother, Tian Yunzi, will teach Tao. Everyone, I still have important matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving first." With that, Qi Lai grabbed Zhao Xingsha and turned into a red cloud. He flew off into the distance and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Ever since the red-faced old man appeared, Wang Lin hadn't said a word. At this moment, he picked up a cup of wine and drank it. Then he revealed a pondering expression. "What kind of spell did Zhao Xingsha use before? It doesn't look like a domain attack, but more like an ancient god spell." For what the red-faced old man said, it seems to be a demon spirit that just formed inside Zhao Xingsha's body, so he can't use it without permission. As he pondered, many cultivators from the surrounding sects came over to toast Wang Lin. Wang Lin had easily killed the second brother of the Purple Division and forced the first brother to use that demonic spell. However, everyone could tell that this demonic spell hurt both the opponent and the user. Just by looking at Zhao Xingsha's expression, it was easy to imagine that he would suffer a great backlash from using this spell. Also, the seventh brother of the Purple Division hadn't made a move yet. It was just a clash of treasures. Although the outcome was unknown, everyone could tell from Qi Lai's words that Tian Yunzi attached great importance to this person. If not, then why did he only take Zhao Xingsha away and not pursue the matter of the second brother of the Purple Division? Instead, he left behind some words of concern as if he was comforting Zhao Xingsha. Almost all cultivators were old and powerful, especially those that could enter the banquet. In their eyes, Wang Lin would definitely be one of the 7 true disciples of the Heavenly Fate Celestial Sect. If they could establish a good relationship with him now, it would definitely be beneficial for them in the future. As a result, there was an endless stream of people toasting him. Wang Lin put away his thoughts and smiled. He knew that if he wanted to gain a foothold on planet Tianyun, there was no harm in making friends with people from other sects aside from the Heavenly Fate sect. Thus, on the last day of the 7-day banquet, a new person appeared at the Purple Division's banquet. Wang Lin replaced Zhao Xingsha as the host of the banquet and chatted with the cultivators from the other sections. As for Bai Wei and fourth sister, not many people went, so it was naturally a bit empty. When night arrived, the banquet was about to end. Wang Lin picked up his cup and respectfully toasted Empyrean Exalt Jiang. After Empyrean Exalt Jiang and company left, his eyes lit up and fell on fourth sister. Chapter 493. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he slowly said, "Fourth senior sister, when will you be able to pass on that teleportation spell to junior brother?" Fourth senior sister looked at Wang Lin. After a while, she faintly smiled and slapped her bag of holding. A piece of jade appeared in her hand, and she threw it at Wang Lin. "I originally intended to remove the seal on you after Master's birthday, but I never expected that you would come out yourself. Senior sister is helpless in this matter, and I hope junior brother won't take offense. Besides the teleportation restriction technique, there's also a restriction technique that Master passed down to me all those years ago within this jade slip. This restriction technique was imitated by Master from a low-grade immortal technique, and its might is passable. I'll give it to junior brother as an apology for what happened a month ago." Wang Lin took the jade and looked at fourth senior sister. After pondering a bit, he nodded. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he didn't want to become enemies with this person. After all, this fourth senior sister had reached the late stage of the wind transformation stage, and she had never shown any malice. Even 3 months ago, she only used a restriction to seal him and didn't actually make a move. As for Bai Wei, he faintly smiled and said, "Seventh brother, it looks like the title of true disciple will belong to you. Seventh brother, it looks like the title of true disciple will belong to you. Senior brother will congratulate you in advance." With that, he picked up the wine cup and took a sip at Wang Lin. Wang Lin smiled and drank the wine. Then he stood up and clasped his hands. "I still have some matters to attend to, so let's meet up tomorrow." Bai Wei nodded and smiled. "Seventh brother, you can go first. There's no need to worry about us." Fourth senior sister also nodded and smiled. Wang Lin's body flickered. He took a step and disappeared without a trace. After he left, Bai Wei and fourth senior sister chatted for a bit before also leaving. On the way back to the Ziwei Pavilion, Bai Wei's eyes revealed a vicious gaze. He looked toward the main sect of the Heavenly Fate sect and muttered to himself, "Master is too biased. He actually planted the demonic spirit in eldest brother's body. Now that the demonic spirit has awakened, I fear it won't take long for eldest brother's cultivation to recover. At that time, I will never be able to get my revenge. What should I do?" He frowned and returned to Ziwei Pavilion. As Wang Lin flew along, he encountered several cultivators from other sections. They clasped hands in greeting, and before long, he was back at the Purple Forest Pavilion. He hadn't returned for 3 months, but the Violet Forest Pavilion was the same as before. Wang Lin's body flickered as he entered the 3rd floor and sat down in the private room. He flipped his hand, and a jade slip appeared. This jade slip was given to him by his 4th senior sister, and it recorded the 2 forbidden techniques. A restriction magic that could allow one to teleport hundreds of thousands of kilometers away was the best way to save one's life. When Wang Lin had first seen this restriction magic, he had been tempted. He scanned it with his divine sense and began to frown. After a while, he retracted his divine sense and pondered. So that's how the greater teleportation hexing magic works. It uses the momentary lag that occurs during teleportation to seal one's self. By using the greater teleportation hexing magic multiple times in a single instant, a strange power will be generated. Once the seal is broken, that power will explode out, causing the distance to increase by countless times. Although this method is simple, there are many drawbacks in using it. If one doesn't control the timing of the seal well, it is very likely that one will be sent into a spatial rift. Aside from this, it is impossible to completely locate the location. Fourth senior sister must have relied on her late-stage soul transformation divine sense and her understanding of planet Tianyun to accurately teleport to the stone forest. However, overall, this spell is very powerful. Wang Lin pondered a bit before standing up and taking a step forward. His body suddenly became illusory. At the same time, Wang Lin's right hand formed a mysterious seal and raised his hand. A silver light suddenly appeared from his hand and surrounded the area. The moment the silver light appeared, Wang Lin felt as if there was water flowing around him. It was as if he was at the bottom of the sea, and everything around him seemed to solidify. He carefully felt this feeling. His eyes lit up, and he took a step forward. Normally, Wang Lin would be able to travel thousands of kilometers with this step. However, this step only caused his body to sway. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he took another step forward. His body didn't stop as if he was climbing a ladder to the heavens. He took a total of 7 steps. These 7 steps caused Wang Lin's body to go higher and higher. When he was about 10 feet above the ground, the silver light around him suddenly disappeared. The moment the light disappeared, Wang Lin felt a powerful tearing force gather on him from all directions. At this moment, he lost control of his body and disappeared without a trace. 50,000 kilometers away, a large amount of silver light suddenly appeared on a mountain peak. At the same time, a loud bang came from the middle of the mountain. As the dust flew into the air, Wang Lin walked out from the middle of the mountain covered in dirt. His eyes were filled with excitement as he muttered to himself, "This greater teleportation forbidden spell is indeed powerful. I was right to come to planet Tianyan. If I was still in Suzaku, how could I have learned this spell? I'm afraid only ascendant cultivators can use it from such a distance." At this moment, Wang Lin's heart was filled with joy. He raised his head to look at the moon and let out a roar. At the same time, his body trembled and the dirt on his body disappeared without a trace. Under the moonlight, Wang Lin turned into a ray of light and charged into the sky. While flying, Wang Lin took out the jade and scanned it with his divine sense to check the second forbidden spell Fourth Sister had left behind. As he looked, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light. He stopped in the air and frowned. This second forbidden spell has no name. It is a method to use celestial spiritual energy. This celestial spiritual energy doesn't move through the normal meridians in the body. It moves in a strange way and is released in a spiral shape. This spiral has a total of 9 cycles, and the longer it stays in the body, the more powerful it becomes when it leaves the body. According to Fourth Sister's records, when teacher taught her this spell, he said that it was an imitation of the low-quality 9-cycle celestial refining method. It is an imitation, so even if it reaches 9 cycles in the body, it will only have the power of a real 3-cycle celestial spell. Wang Lin pondered a bit and didn't immediately try to cultivate it. Instead, he spread out his divine sense and found a remote valley. He sat down in the lotus position and began to carefully study it. Wang Lin wasn't a reckless person. Since Fourth Sister was willing to hand over the forbidden spell, he naturally had to confirm it before deciding whether or not to cultivate it. After carefully studying it for a long time, Wang Lin compared it to the 3 killing spells Situ Nen taught him. Finally, he was sure that this forbidden spell was real. 9-cycle celestial refining method. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and revealed a hint of decisiveness. He took a deep breath and moved the celestial spiritual energy in his body. He split off a part of the celestial spiritual energy and placed it in a few remote spots in his body. Then he tried to make it rotate. If Wang Lin's cultivation hadn't reached the soul transformation stage and his body was still that of a mortal, then he naturally wouldn't be able to cultivate a celestial spell with his talent. But now, Wang Lin's body had been condensed by celestial spiritual energy. His mortal bones had been removed, and he now had a celestial body. Although the talent of this celestial body wasn't the best in other people's eyes, Wang Lin was already very satisfied. This celestial body was countless times better than his previous mortal body. This was also the reason why Wang Lin focused on magic treasures and not spells. This was because the cultivation of spells was closely related to one's talent. Sometimes, if one didn't have enough talent, it would be useless even if they tried tens of thousands of times. However, if one was talented enough, it was possible to learn it in one try. The celestial spiritual energy in his body slowly rotated under Wang Lin's control. It gradually completed 1 cycle and completed the first cycle. At the moment it completed its first turn, a sharp force came from within it. Wang Lin's divine sense spread out, and he began to carefully observe it. He was gradually able to find some clues. This 9-cycle celestial refinement art cultivated the power of a golden celestial. Wang Lin pondered for a moment. He controlled the golden, celestial spiritual energy that had completed the first cycle and slowly rotated it again. He wanted to complete the second cycle. The speed of the second cycle was much slower than the first. After the time it takes for 3 incense sticks to burn, it finally finished. The moment the second cycle was completed, the sharp feeling in the celestial spiritual energy suddenly increased by 10 times. A stabbing pain came from his body and slowly disappeared after a while. Wang Lin observed it for a long time. Then, he clenched his teeth and began the third cycle. The third cycle took almost 2 hours. The moment the third cycle was completed, the powerful golden celestial spiritual energy flowed wildly through Wang Lin's body. He even felt a heart-wrenching pain coming from his internal organs. The rest of the celestial spiritual energy in his body immediately flowed into him. After a while, the pain in his body slowly dissipated. At this moment, the third cycle celestial spiritual energy in Wang Lin's body was no longer white. Instead, it emitted bursts of golden light. It was completely out of place compared to the other celestial spiritual energy, as if there was a strict hierarchy between them. The white celestial spiritual energy in Wang Lin's body immediately scattered when it encountered the golden celestial spiritual energy, not daring to come into contact with it. Finally, Wang Lin gathered the golden celestial spiritual energy in his left hand. Only then did the celestial spiritual energy in his body start to circulate again. However, there was no celestial spiritual energy in his left hand, as if it was a dividing line. The celestial spiritual energy refined by the 9-cycle celestial refinement art is interesting. I wonder how powerful it is. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. He didn't use it, but his right hand formed a seal and used the greater teleportation technique. As the silver light appeared around him, he took 7 steps forward. The silver light disappeared and Wang Lin's figure disappeared without a trace. Outside the purple division, there was a flash of silver light, and Wang Lin's figure stepped out in a sorry state. After all, he had only tried it twice, so he wasn't used to the speed of continuous teleportation. After appearing, Wang Lin flew toward the purple forest pavilion. At this moment, the sky was slowly turning white. A new day had begun. Today was the day that Tian Yunzi would teach Tao. It was also the day that all the sects on planet Tianyun and the powerful cultivators from other planets looked forward to the most. Is it over? No, I still have enough energy, so I'll continue writing. It's time to count the monthly votes of my brothers. My ass just got busted, damn. Chapter 494. Tian Yunzi's lecture was held once every 10,000 years, and each lecture lasted for an indefinite amount of time. Anyone who came to listen would have a great opportunity. This was a very unique event on planet Tianyun after Tian Yunzi completed his Tao. There were many powerful cultivators among the people that came from all directions. However, even they would listen to the All-Seer's Tao lecture and obtain their Tao fruits. On this morning, the red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple division disciples stepped out of the Heavenly Fate sect with the red division at the front. The red division had 7 disciples, and none of them were missing. They were all wearing red with golden dragons embroidered on their sleeves and warm jade on their waists. The 7 of them turned into 7 rays of light as they flew out of the red division. They flew across the sky toward the Heavenly Fate sect's main sect and bowed. After the red faction moved, the orange faction followed closely behind. There were also 7 people from the orange faction, all dressed in orange. They flew out together and saluted the red faction. Next were the yellow, green, cyan, and blue division. After all, the purple division was the weakest among the Heavenly Fate sect. Only 3 rays of light flew out from the purple division and landed on the side. The disciples of the other 6 divisions all looked over. There was indifference, disdain, and mockery in their eyes. All kinds of gazes landed on the 3 of them like sharp swords. Bai Wei's expression was neutral. He was already used to this. As for the 4th sister, her face was filled with killing intent. She bit her lower lip and didn't say a word. Wang Lin stood there with a calm expression as he coldly looked at the disciples of the other 6 sections. The more he looked, the more shocked he became, and his pupils shrank an undetectable amount. He only knew 3 of the disciples of the 6 sections. One of them was the Blue Division's 3rd-ranked disciple, Sima Ruffin. His cultivation was at the peak of the late stage of soul transformation and was only 1 step away from the ascended stage. The other person was the man named Wang from the Blue Division. His expression was always cold, and when he saw Wang Lin look over, his eyes revealed a hint of indifference. His cultivation level was higher than Sima Ruffin's, and he was half a step into the ascended stage. Aside from these 2, there was one more person that Wang Lin was very familiar with. It was the middle-aged man that used the killing intent crystal against Qi Hu in the celestial realm. Back then, this person hadn't reached the soul transformation stage, but now he was at the late stage of soul transformation. He was standing 4th in the Orange Division, and his gaze was looking at Wang Lin. The moment their gazes met, this person revealed a look of understanding as if he recognized Wang Lin's identity, and revealed a strange smile. Wang Lin took a deep breath. Back then, he didn't know much about the Heavenly Fates sect, but now that he had come into contact with them, he was sure that they had hidden their cultivation in the celestial realm. Even now, Wang Lin suspected that this person was still hiding his cultivation level. It's just that the difference in cultivation level was too great, so he couldn't see through it. Wang Lin looked at the remaining disciples of the 6 sects one by one. He couldn't see through most of them. Even if he saw some clues, Wang Lin guessed that they were just illusions. The Heavenly Fates sect is indeed powerful. Just these disciples, aside from my Purple Division, any one of the divisions is enough to sweep Suzaku. Even if Rosefinch's son has the titled seal, I fear he won't be a match for them. Wang Lin's expression was neutral, but his heart was gloomy. After all the disciples of the 7 divisions arrived, the ordinary disciples of the 7 divisions arrived. Not all of these disciples had the qualifications to seek out the Tao. Only those who were talented or had high cultivation were qualified to seek out the Tao at close range. One by one, the disciples of the 7 divisions flew out and stood behind the all-seer disciples of their respective sects, forming a fan-shaped formation. As a result, the difference in strength was clear. Among the 7 divisions, the Red Division was the strongest, and even the ordinary disciples behind them were powerful. As for the disciples of the Purple Division behind Wang Lin, they were clearly weaker. As Wang Lin was feeling emotional, the 4th sister's voice entered his ears. "7th brother can see the decline of my Purple Division." He pondered a bit. Then he nodded and said, "The Purple Division is too weak compared to the other 6 divisions." The 4th sister sighed and said, "Do you know why? Please speak." Wang Lin's expression was calm. The 4th sister let out a bitter sigh and no longer spoke. "Because my Purple Division has too much internal strife. Most importantly, the title of the true disciple changes too often, unlike the other divisions, which have 7 true disciples for thousands of years. As a result, my Purple Division has gradually declined and is no longer as powerful as it was when junior brother Sun Yin was still around." After the ordinary disciples of the 7 sects appeared, the people who came to attend the birthday celebration appeared on the outer perimeter. Regardless of their status or cultivation base, as long as they came to attend the Tao Enlightenment, they would be able to attend the Tao Enlightenment. Gradually, more and more people appeared. Soon, the surrounding tens of thousands of miles were densely packed with cultivators. Shortly after, more and more people arrived. At a glance, Wang Lin couldn't even tell how many people there were. This was the first time Wang Lin had seen Tian Yunzi's position in the Heavenly Fate sect from the side. Not long after, a ray of 7-colored light suddenly appeared at the main sect of the Heavenly Fate sect. It drew an arc in the air and landed directly above the disciples of the 7 sections. Shortly after, an old man wearing a white robe slowly appeared. He stepped on the 7-colored light and slowly walked toward the main sect. At this moment, all the direct disciples of the Purple Division bowed at the same time and said, "Greetings, Master." Wang Lin followed the others and also respectfully greeted the old man. Behind them were the ordinary disciples of the 7 divisions. There were many of them, and when they all greeted the old man, it was like thunder that shook the heavens and earth. "Greetings, ancestor." After them were the people who came to greet the old man. Among them, there were those who loudly greeted the old man and those who nodded. The old man looked slow, but in reality, it only took 3 breaths of time for him to arrive in the sky. He looked at the surrounding cultivators and faintly smiled. The old man, Tian Yunzi, has cultivated for a long time and gained some understanding of the heavens Tao. Today, I'll share some of the old man's comprehension with fellow cultivators. The old man's Tao is to believe in the heavens' fate. If there are any fallacies, I hope you all can forgive me. At this point, he paused for a bit and looked up at the void. His face revealed a peaceful expression, and he smiled. However, before that, I'd like to invite my old friend from the Cultivation Alliance to come out and have a chat. The moment the All-Seer spoke, the surroundings became silent. All the cultivators raised their heads to look at the void above the All-Seer. In particular, the powerful cultivators immediately focused and revealed looks of shock in their eyes. A long laugh that seemed to have come from the void suddenly reverberated in the silent sky. At the same time, rays of golden light suddenly appeared within tens of thousands of kilometers. The moment the golden light appeared, it gathered toward one location. As the golden light moved, the entire sky looked like a huge formation. Furthermore, this formation wasn't static. Instead, it was rapidly revolving and shrinking. Finally, when all of the golden light converged together, the sun lost its color. The sky, the earth, everything else lost their color. The only thing left in the world was that golden beam of light. A person gradually walked out from the golden light. This person had a head of long hair that moved without any wind. He was tall and burly, and as he stood there, he looked like a war celestial. He was about 40 years old, and his face was resolute. His eyes were like lightning, and just looking at them would cause one's mind to tremble. He stood there, giving off a sense of majesty. There were many people with high cultivation levels among the surrounding cultivators, but even they couldn't help but lower their heads when they saw this person's gaze. This person was wearing a purple robe, and there was a 3-eyed sable on his shoulder. This sable's gaze was like lightning, and it revealed a cold gaze as it looked around. Tian Yunzi's expression remained the same. When he saw the middle-aged man, he faintly smiled and said, "So, it's Elder Sunday. Tian Yunzi greets Elder Sun. The old man's birthday is a small matter. I didn't expect Elder Sun to come with an avatar. It is an honor." Tian Yunzi's words were respectful, but his body didn't move at all. It was clear he was just being polite. The middle-aged man didn't mind. After he walked out of the golden light, he casually waved his hand. The golden light behind him dimmed and turned into a golden flying sword that he grabbed. "Old monster Tian Yunzi, how could the old man not come for your 10,000-year birthday?" The middle-aged man laughed and waved his hand. The golden flying sword immediately flew toward Tian Yunzi. "I came in a hurry, so I don't have any good gifts. This flying sword is a medium-quality celestial treasure that I have refined for 10,000 years, so it still has some power. I know you like 7 colors, and this golden sword could be considered yellow, so it should suit your taste." Tian Yunzi smiled as he accepted the flying sword. He threw it to the strongest person in the yellow division and said, "Kuan Pengzi, this sword is for you." The yellow division's Kuan Pengzi trembled and immediately accepted the sword. His heart was filled with excitement as he respectfully said, "Thank you, teacher." The middle-aged man shook his head and wryly smiled. "Your temper still hasn't changed." Tian Yunzi faintly smiled and no longer spoke. His gaze swept the surrounding cultivators, and he slowly said, "The old man's Tao lecture is about the Tao of the heaven's fate. Fellow cultivators, if you have any different opinions, you can voice them on the spot, and we can discuss them together." With that, Tian Yunzi waved his sleeves and sat down. The moment he sat down, a cloud appeared below him. The middle-aged man from the Cultivation Alliance also sat down and carefully looked at Tian Yunzi. He was ready to listen to Tao. As for the 3-eyed marten on his shoulder, it flew out with a flash. Its speed was countless times faster than lightning, and it disappeared without a trace in a flash. Wang Lin's pupil shrank. This kind of speed could only be matched by the half-moon blade at full power. While he was pondering, he suddenly felt something on his shoulder. The three-eyed sable had unknowingly landed on his shoulder. Wang Lin turned his head and saw that the sable was also looking at Wang Lin. Today is 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Don't worry, I'll continue to write, but I won't be able to update today. I have to go home and write. Mother-in-law doesn't have an internet connection, so I'll post tomorrow. Brothers, how many more chapters are left? Consider it the standard 2 chapters for tomorrow, so there's still 6 chapters left. I'm going all out. Ear Root is going all out. Kill the one above me, and let Ear Root touch someone else's ass, huh? Chapter 495. This three-eyed sable was completely purple, but its 3 eyes gave off a ghostly glow. It lay on Wang Lin's shoulder and looked at Wang Lin. Its eyes revealed a mysterious light as it stared at Wang Lin and remained motionless. Wang Lin looked at the sable. When he saw the sable on Elder Sun's body, he felt it was familiar. Now that he looked at it up close, especially with the 3rd eye between its eyebrows, he felt like it was very familiar. This sable's 3rd eye seemed to contain specks of starlight. If one looked at it, they would be lost in it. Star-marked sable, a young star-marked sable. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as he recognized the sable's identity. There were memories of this sable in the ancient god 2C's inheritance of knowledge. This sable was a mysterious creature that lived among the stars. Once it matured, it could transform into anything in the world, and it wasn't strange for it to take the form of a human. It was the best material for creating puppets. When it was young, this sable didn't have much offensive power, but its speed was unimaginably fast. In addition, this sable loved crystal stones. After devouring them for a long time, it would gradually grow. In the ancient god 2C's memories, there were many star-marked sables. If one used a young core to refine a treasure and placed a teleportation formation on it, its speed would reach an unimaginable level. However, too much time had passed. Even if this sable hadn't gone extinct, there weren't many of them left. In the era of the ancient gods, the star-marked sable was the best pet, especially because of its speed. The ancient gods loved it, and, at the same time, the star-marked sable also liked the aura of young ancient gods. Often, they wouldn't even need to capture them. They would approach them on their own. Being with a young ancient god was very beneficial for the star-marked sable. As the young ancient god grew, the star-marked sable would absorb a large amount of spiritual energy, which would increase its growth several-fold. This little sable's 3rd eye was filled with starlight, but it hadn't reached the stage of the end of the world. It should have been around for less than 10,000 years. Looking at this sable, Wang Lin's heart skipped a beat. He touched his bag of holding, and a high-quality spirit stone appeared in his hand. He placed it next to the sable's mouth. The sable didn't even look at the spirit stone and only stared at Wang Lin. It revealed a puzzled expression before disappearing from Wang Lin's shoulder. Wang Lin rubbed his chin. This sable obviously didn't care about the spirit stone. Could it have smelled the aura of an ancient god on his body? Although Wang Lin also had the aura of an ancient god, it was very weak. This was something that remained after he fused with his original body, and after a long time, it would disappear. The violet mink followed the aura over, yet it was extremely disappointed, because this aura was truly too little in its opinion. Even though it didn't know what that aura was, it felt extremely comfortable upon smelling it, and it had never experienced such a feeling since it was born until now. After putting away the spirit stone, Wang Lin's hand flashed. This time, a celestial jade appeared in his hand. The moment the celestial jade appeared, there was a flash of purple light. When Wang Lin looked at his left hand, the celestial jade had already disappeared. Wang Lin smiled as he took out another celestial jade. This time, he was completely focused on it. With a flash of purple light, the sable appeared above Wang Lin's left hand with an unimaginable speed. It didn't stop at all. It directly grabbed the celestial jade with its mouth and disappeared. When the sable reappeared, It was on Elder Sun's shoulder. Its mouth was biting the celestial jade while its gaze occasionally swept over Wang Lin. It was especially focused on Wang Lin's bag of holding. Elder Sun seemed to have noticed this. He faintly smiled at Wang Lin and nodded at him. Tian Yunzi sat on the cloud and began to preach Tao. The art of the heavens is the fate of 9 by 9 returns to the origin. I can't say that I've seen through all divine abilities, but I've gained some understanding of the essence behind them. Cultivation, Tao cultivation. Tao cultivation. What is the word cultivation? What is the word Tao? Qi condensation, foundation establishment, core formation, nascent soul, soul formation, soul transformation, and ascended. This is the first step of cultivation. The old man believes that it can all be summed up in the word cultivation. When Wang Lin heard this, he suddenly looked at Tian Yunzi with rapt attention. Since he began cultivating, he had relied on himself, so his cultivation methods were very varied. What he lacked the most was some profound insight. After Ascendant, there are the 2 realms of illusory and corporeal, and the 3 realms of Nirvana Shatterer. I presume some fellow cultivators are stuck at this point and can't advance any further. This is the second step of cultivation. This old man believes that the second step is the transition between cultivation and Tao. How to completely transfer the spirit of the word cultivation to the word Tao. That's the most important step. Unfortunately, even the old man is unable to completely comprehend it. It is as if there is a mysterious force that is interfering with our comprehension. We are constantly being interrupted for no reason. The all-seer's voice spread across the area as he explained his comprehension of cultivation. The surroundings gradually became silent. Even Elder Sun from the Cultivation Alliance was silent, and his eyes were filled with helplessness. One of the surrounding cultivators asked, Senior Tian Yunzi, what is the third step of cultivation? This person was wearing black and stood there. There was no cultivator within 100 feet of him, and he gave off a fierce aura. There was a hideous scar on his face that went through his eyebrows and down his neck. Tian Yunzi looked at this person and said, the third step is the true meaning of Tao. Countless years of cultivation are all for the sake of seeking Tao. Once this word Tao is cultivated, it can reach an unimaginable height. However, the old man doesn't know how to cultivate it. The old man's Tao is the fate of the heavens. If the fate of the heavens arrives, then everything will become powerful. If the fate of the heavens doesn't arrive, then everything will turn to dust. Tens of thousands of years of cultivation will be swept away. The surroundings became silent once more. Wang Lin revealed a pondering expression as he carefully pondered Tian Yunzi's words. Cultivation is divided into 3 steps, and I haven't even finished the first step. The path after this will be even more difficult than it is now. It is said that cultivation is heaven-defying, and this is true. If even Tian Yunzi doesn't know the path of the third step, then does the third step really exist? Wang Lin pondered. Tian Yunzi's gaze swept past Wang Lin. At this moment, Wang Lin raised his head and met Tian Yunzi's gaze. It was as if he had seen through Wang Lin's heart. Tian Yunzi let out a kind smile as he looked at Wang Lin and said, Wang Lin, do you have any questions? After Tian Yunzi spoke, all of the surrounding cultivators' gazes gathered on Wang Lin. The disciples of the other 6 divisions all looked at Wang Lin. It has to be said that it was a great honor to be personally questioned by their teacher in this kind of situation. Wang Lin's expression was neutral as he clasped his hands at Tian Yunzi and respectfully said, Teacher, there is something disciple doesn't understand. Tian Yunzi stroked his white beard and nodded with a smile. Let's hear it. Disciple has some questions about the word cultivation. My generation often talks about celestial cultivation, truth cultivation, and Tao cultivation. Teacher only explains Tao cultivation, but what about celestial cultivation? What about truth cultivation? Could it be that these 2 sayings appeared out of thin air? Tian Yunzi faintly smiled and revealed a look of admiration. At this moment, even Elder Sun from the Cultivation Alliance revealed a smile and looked meaningfully at Wang Lin. Celestial cultivation no longer exists. Celestial cultivation comes from ancient times. Back then, the celestial realm was the holy land of cultivation. That's why there's the word celestial cultivation. What is truth? Truth was the truth of everything. After the immortal realm disappeared, cultivators were like trees without roots. They had no home to return to and wandered the world alone. At this moment, cultivation had lost its meaning, so truth became the root of all cultivation. From then on, there was the path of truth. Speaking of truth, it was also the cultivation of oneself. Now that celestial cultivation and truth have disappeared, we are pursuing Tao in the past. However, this Tao is not the heavenly Tao. Tian Yunzi's voice was slow, and he paused for a moment. The surrounding cultivators began to talk uncontrollably. Cultivators don't cultivate the heavenly Tao. These words set off a huge wave. These words seemed to contradict what Tian Yunzi had said before. At this moment, many questions arose among the cultivators. However, the powerful cultivators all had calm expressions, and their eyes were filled with melancholy. Tian Yunzi's words sounded the same to them. However, sometimes these words couldn't be said out loud, or else it would cause some trouble. Elder Sun from the Cultivation Alliance frowned. He coughed and looked at Tian Yunzi. Tian Yunzi faintly smiled and slowly said, "The Tao of cultivation is a path. Because we don't know the third step, we're looking for a path to the third step. This is another explanation for the Tao of cultivation." Wang Lin, do you have any answers? Wang Lin pondered for a moment, and after a while, he shook his head. Disciple wonders if there really is a third step cultivator. Tian Yunzi let out a sigh. There was a rare hint of reminiscence in his eyes as he slowly said, 30,000 years ago, the old man was the same as you. He didn't believe that a third step cultivator existed until I met him. Elder Sun obviously knew who he was. After he heard this, his expression became ugly. His eyes were also filled with reminiscence, but there was even more fear in his eyes. After he spoke, the surrounding cultivators became abnormally silent. Only the powerful cultivators revealed mysterious lights in their eyes. Senior Tian Yunzi, who is he? Old friend Tian Yunzi, can you speak clearly? Tian Yunzi, what do you mean? More and more discussions appeared, and all of them pointed at the he that Tian Yunzi mentioned. Elder Sun's expression was ugly as he said, "Enough. Tian Yunzi, don't bring this up again." Tian Yunzi looked at Elder Sun and smiled. In truth, I'm very lucky that I was able to discover during my time of confusion that this person has already entered the third step. Chapter 496. Elder Sun pondered a bit before letting out a sigh and waving his hand. Forget it. Old man Tian Yunzi's temper has always been strange, so just say it. Tian Yunzi smiled. The Cultivation Alliance has only suffered once at the hands of this person, so it is not a big deal. He is the only person I have met who has reached the third step. Unfortunately, that person only appeared for a short time and has never been heard from again. Tian Yunzi's lecture continued, but most of the cultivators were focused on the hymn that Tian Yunzi mentioned. However, Tian Yunzi didn't say a word. This lecture lasted for 3 days, and it ended after 3 days. Wang Lin quietly listened and gradually gained some understanding. Tian Yunzi faintly smiled and slowly said, "After the old man's lecture, I will give everyone a great fortune. I will now use a mid-quality celestial spell. Fellow cultivators, you can comprehend as much as you can." After the All-Seer's words echoed, the surrounding people immediately calmed down. Even the powerful cultivators, some of whom were only a bit weaker than the All-Seer, began to carefully observe the All-Seer. It has to be said that celestial spells were too rare, and mid-quality celestial spells were even rarer. The reason so many people came to the All-Seer's birthday celebration, aside from his fame and friends, was because of his Tao lectures and the celestial spell that he would use after his Tao lectures. That was what tempted all the cultivators. Wang Lin took a deep breath and stared at Tian Yunzi. He had never seen a celestial spell in his life. The most powerful ones he had seen were those that were imitations of low-quality celestial spells. Restrictions were already so powerful, so Wang Lin couldn't imagine just how powerful celestial jades were. Just as everyone was staring at Tian Yunzi, waiting for him to use a mid-quality celestial spell, the sound of thunder came from a distance. Rays of sword energy closed in like meteors. The cultivators in the area had long since noticed what was happening, and they calmly looked over. The amount of sword energy in the sky was unimaginable. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say they covered the sky. Waves of sword light whistled through the air, shaking the heavens and earth as they closed in on Xiaochun. Wang Lin had only seen this once before. It was in the celestial realm when the woman in white awakened and summoned the celestial sword spirit. The entire celestial realm was shrouded in swords. Tian Yunzi's expression remained the same as he looked into the distance. At this moment, countless flying swords rushed over in a frenzy. Waves of cold sword chi, like sharp blades, rushed forward straight toward this place. Many cultivators with insufficient cultivation moved out of the way and didn't dare to block the way. A wide passageway suddenly opened up in the middle of the crowd. Tian Yunzi, old man, how could the old man not come to your birthday banquet? A prideful voice suddenly reverberated through the air. At the same time, the flying swords that were charging over from the distance quickly moved and split apart, revealing an old man in green robes behind them. The old man's white eyebrows fluttered even though there was no wind. Although he was thin, he gave off a shocking feeling as if he was the might of the heavens. Behind him, there were 4 flashing, illusory swords. Every time the swords flashed, there would be a thunderous explosion in the void. There was a snake-shaped sword under his feet that gave off a fierce aura. This snake-shaped sword gave off a thick, bloody aura. It was obviously refined by Sword Saint Ling Tianho using some unknown method. Just looking at it would cause one's mind to tremble. Many of the surrounding cultivators' faces turned pale, and they retreated once more. Wang Lin stared at the snake-shaped sword. This was the second sword that was stolen by Sword Saint Ling Tianho back in the celestial realm. One of the surrounding cultivators immediately exclaimed, "Sword Saint Ling Tianho." On planet Tianyun, the sect master of the Delu Sword Sect, Sword Saint Ling Tianho, who was second only to the Heavenly Fate Sect, had appeared. Sword Saint Ling Tianho's skinny face revealed a very gloomy expression. Behind him, countless flying swords filled the sky and gave off a buzzing sound. "Disciples, come out and greet your senior Tian Yunzi," Sword Saint Ling Tianho shouted. After he finished speaking, the humming of the flying swords behind him became even stronger. Eventually, there was a series of popping sounds as the flying swords turned into fog. At this moment, the green fog behind Ling Tianho seemed to cover the entire world, causing the sky to change colors. At the same time, pairs of cold eyes gradually appeared inside the green fog. Finally, the green fog dissipated, revealing countless disciples standing on flying swords behind Sword Saint Ling Tianho. These disciples were all wearing black and had ancient sword sheaths on their backs. Their gazes were like lightning as they stared at Tian Yunzi. They were densely packed. At a glance, Wang Lin estimated that there were at least 10,000 disciples behind Sword Saint Ling Tianho. A lot of old friends are here. Elder Sun is also here. Sword Saint Ling Tianho's gaze swept by and finally landed on Elder Sunday. Elder Sun faintly smiled and said, "How could I not come to old friend Tian Yunzi's birthday banquet?" Ling Tianho laughed as he looked at Tian Yunzi and said, "Tian Yunzi, old man, what? All-seer, what's wrong? Do you not welcome this old man?" All-seer's expression was the same as usual as he said with a smile, "Forget it. You've come at a good time today. I'll use you as the target to execute the celestial technique and let everyone observe it. Okay?" Ling Tianho's expression turned cold and he smiled. "That's exactly what I was thinking." The Tian Yunzi faintly smiled as he raised his right hand, formed a seal, and slowly said, Fellow cultivators, the celestial spell the old man is going to use today is a medium-quality celestial spell. This spell was accidentally obtained by the old man on an abandoned planet. It is called the Celestial Attraction Spell. After studying it, the old man found out that it was used by the people of the celestial realm to guide us cultivators to the celestial realm. Once it is used, a powerful spell will descend. So, I ask everyone to watch carefully. Sword Saint Ling Tian-ho let out a cold snort. His eyes became cold as he stared at the Tian Yunzi. The Tian Yunzi smiled, and his hand formed a seal. A ray of red light suddenly condensed in his hand. The Tian Yunzi raised his left hand and formed another seal, causing the red light to shine even brighter. The Tian Yunzi's expression remained the same as his hand pointed at the void. The red light in his hand flew out and shot into the sky. Medium-quality celestial attraction spell. The Tian Yunzi's voice seemed to come from the void. There was a thunderous rumble, and the entire sky turned red. The cloud churned in this red color, as if there was an angry dragon roaring inside. Thunder rumbled, and at the same time, bursts of lightning pierced through the clouds like silver snakes and spread like crazy. At this moment, the sky was like a raging sea, and a heavenly might silently descended. Under this heavenly might, a large portion of the surrounding cultivators' faces immediately turned pale. They fell from the sky and sat down to cultivate. Wang Lin looked at the sky, and the celestial spiritual energy in his body became chaotic. It was as if there was a mysterious force in the sky that caused his body to tremble uncontrollably. Only the third cycle golden, celestial spiritual energy in his left arm remained unmoved and quietly cycled. Wang Lin's heart skipped a beat. He immediately released the third cycle golden, celestial spiritual energy from his left arm and had it flow through his body. He tried to control this golden, celestial spiritual energy so that it didn't come into contact with the celestial spiritual energy in his body. After the golden celestial spiritual energy cycled through his body once, the trembling in Wang Lin's body slowly calmed down. Although his face was pale, he was able to stand up straight. As for Bai Wei, he held on for a while before letting out a sigh and returning to the ground to cultivate. In the entire purple division, aside from Wang Lin, only the fourth sister remained calm as she calmly looked at the sky. Aside from the two of them, the ordinary disciples of the Purple Division couldn't hold on any longer and fell from the sky. Not only the Purple Division, but most of the ordinary disciples of the other 6 divisions fell as well. Only those with high cultivation levels were barely able to stand. However, none of the disciples of the other 6 divisions of Tian Yunzi fell from the sky. They all stood there. Although some of their faces were as pale as Wang Lin's, they still held on. Wang Lin's expression returned to normal after the golden, celestial spiritual energy cycled through his body a third time. The fourth sister turned around and looked meaningfully at Wang Lin, but she didn't speak. Tian Yunzi's eyes revealed a calm gaze, and his right hand pointed at Ling Tianho. However, his finger immediately slid down and landed on the tens of thousands of disciples standing on flying sword behind Ling Tianho. Sword Saint Ling Tianho's expression sank, and he was about to move forward. However, just at this moment, Tian Yunzi faintly smiled and softly said, "Guide." After he spoke, the clouds in the sky began to rumble. It was as if the sky was being torn open by a pair of invisible hands, revealing a giant hole. Bursts of 7-colored light descended from the sky and surrounded all of the disciples behind Ling Tianho. The coldness on the faces of the Delu Sword sect disciples immediately disappeared and was replaced with confusion. Their bodies flew uncontrollably toward the sky where the 7-colored light came from. Ling Tianho let out a roar and his body moved. The snake-shaped sword under his feet flew out like lightning toward the sky. The All-Seer revealed a smile, and his right hand reached out. The snake-shaped celestial sword immediately slowed down. It began to struggle violently and let out a shocking sword-hymn. Ling Tianho let out a cold roar, and a ray of red light appeared between his eyebrows. The red light flew out from between his eyebrows and turned into a giant Qilin beast. This beast was extremely majestic. Its forehooves landed on the ground, and its large head stared at Tian Yunzi. It let out a roar and charged out. The moment the Qilin beast appeared, a roar came from the 1 billion soul flag inside Wang Lin's origin soul. Today isn't just 2 chapters. I'm going to keep writing. I'm going to risk it all. Don't save the monthly votes. Throw them at me. Chapter 497. The roar from the 1 billion soul flag came out of the flag and echoed inside Wang Lin's origin soul. Although it didn't leave his body, the Qilin that was pouncing toward the All-Seer seemed to have heard half of it. Its body suddenly trembled and it stopped moving. Its large head suddenly turned around, and its fierce eyes revealed an unimaginable light as it constantly scanned the crowd. However, Wang Lin had already activated the 1 billion soul flag to completely hide the Qilin soul, so Ling Tianho's Qilin couldn't find any trace of the Qilin. Sword Saint Ling Tianho frowned. At this moment, the Qilin suddenly stopped, and the serpentine sword was grabbed by Tian Yunzi. This caused the medium-quality celestial attraction spell to release its full power. Bursts of 7-colored light poured out of the hole in the sky. At the same time, the sound of music slowly reverberated through the friction between the clouds. Strange, illusionary figures appeared in the sky. One of them stood in the center. He was wearing a golden robe and gave off a monstrous celestial aura. Although he was only an illusion, the might of the heavens was spreading out from his body. It stood in the air and looked down at the 10,000 Lu Sword sect disciples on the ground. It didn't speak, but a majestic voice echoed across the world. I'm the eternal, illusionary body of the celestial realm's messenger. I'm here to receive the cultivators of the lower realm. This voice seemed to have been repeated countless times. After the illusionary body finished speaking, it pressed down on the void. The space where the 10,000 Lu Sword sect disciples were standing trembled, and a ray of golden light immediately sealed off the area. This scene shocked all the cultivators that came to congratulate the Lu Sword sect. Some of the powerful cultivators even revealed looks of shock in their eyes. Since the celestial realm has been destroyed, why is there still a celestial lord being summoned? If these people are really being summoned, where are they going? Could it be that they are going to the broken celestial realm? Or are they going to a place no cultivator has ever entered before? Countless questions arose in the minds of the cultivators. At the same time, Tian Yunzi's figure became extremely mysterious in the hearts of these cultivators. This guidance spell is a medium-quality celestial spell. How could Tian Yunzi find it on an abandoned cultivation planet? There must be a problem. Just as all the cultivators were speculating, Sword Saint Ling Tianho's eyes became extremely gloomy, and he coldly said, "All-Seer, old bastard, the old man brought his disciple to celebrate your birthday, yet you disregarded your status and directly attacked my disciple. What is the meaning of this?" He waved his right hand, and the serpentine celestial sword immediately flew back to his side. He didn't stop it. He wanted to see what this Tian Yunzi was going to do. Tian Yunzi's expression was the same as usual. He smiled and said, "Isn't it a good thing to let your disciple experience the immortal world of the past?" As the two of them spoke, the tens of thousands of the Lu Sword sect disciples flew into the air and disappeared into the hole in the sky. Sword Saint Ling Tianho's expression was still gloomy. He didn't move and coldly looked at Tian Yunzi. It wasn't until the last Lu Sword sect disciple disappeared into the hole in the sky that the strange phenomenon in the sky slowly disappeared and returned to normal. Tian Yunzi looked up at the sky and said gently, "Although the old man's middle-grade celestial technique has no offensive power, it can still take people away after the celestial realm is gone. As for where they go, the old man doesn't know." Sword Saint Ling Tianho stared at Tian Yunzi, and his expression became even more gloomy. Tian Yunzi looked at Ling Tianho and smiled. "Sword Saint, don't worry. In 3 days, your Lu Sword sect disciple will return. At that time, I'll have to borrow the old man's group to ask them where they went and what they saw. Sword Saint Ling Tianho's expression was gloomy for a while before he let out a cold snort and no longer spoke. He knew that with Tian Yunzi's identity, he wouldn't use such a method to deal with his disciple in front of so many fellow cultivators. As a result, Tian Yunzi's old face would be completely lost. Since he said 3 days, then it had to be 3 days. This Tian Yunzi was only putting on a show to make himself look bad. At this moment, some of the more talented cultivators looked up at the sky as if they were thinking about something. Some of them were secretly imitating it and pondering. Wang Lin raised his head to look at the sky and began to ponder. This middle-grade celestial technique was very mysterious to him. He had only seen it once, so there was no way he could learn it. However, it gave him a better understanding of celestial techniques. The illusions created by the celestial attraction spell were obviously not created by the All-Seer. In truth, this spell was an eternal existence. As long as one had the chant and method to activate it and had the qualifications to use it, they could use it anywhere and take away the person they wanted to lure to the celestial realm. After the All-Seer finished displaying his celestial spell, he didn't announce the end of this lecture. Instead, his eyes revealed a mysterious light, and he slowly said, "Aside from this old man's 10,000 years of life, there is one more thing I would like all of you to be witnesses. I, the All-Seer, have a total of 7 divisions, and only the yellow and purple divisions don't have a true disciple of the All-Seer's true disciple. Today is the day the true disciple of the All-Seer's true disciple is born." After he said that, the gazes of the surrounding cultivators gathered on the disciples of the purple division and yellow division. However, most of the cultivators were looking at the yellow division. Not many were looking at the purple division. After all, everyone knew that the purple division was too weak. 30 years ago, the third disciple of the yellow division, the true disciple of the yellow division, mysteriously disappeared while he was out among the stars. After that, there was no news of him at all. At this moment, the 6 people of the yellow division all had calm expressions. There was no change in their expressions. The middle-aged woman standing in the back stepped forward and respectfully said to Tian Yunzi, "Disciple abstains." As soon as the words left her mouth, more and more people from the yellow sect stepped forward and respectfully said that they had given up. In the end, only 2 people remained. Of the remaining 2 people, Wang Lin only had some impression of one of them. It was Kuan Pengzi, who had just received the mid-quality celestial treasure from Tian Yunzi. Aside from Kuan Pengzi, there was an old man standing beside him. This person had a face full of wrinkles and didn't look good. Even though he was wearing a yellow robe, he still looked like a skinny old ape. He was the head of the yellow division, Yenda Ozi. He had been one of the true disciples for more than 800 years before it was taken by the third disciple. However, he didn't have any intention of competing. He just cultivated all day and was very carefree. At this moment, he looked at Tian Yunzi, stepped forward, and respectfully said, "Master, disciple also abstains." Among the true disciples of the yellow division, only the second brother who obtained Master's celestial treasure is the most suitable person. Tian Yunzi gave Yunde Ozi a profound look. This gaze caused Yunde Ozi to quickly lower his head and remain silent. The Tian Yunzi shouted, "Kuan Pengzi, disciple is here." Kuan Pengzi's body trembled as he quickly stepped forward and respectfully stood. "You are one of the true disciples of the yellow division. If you can maintain your position for 1,000 years, Master will give you a complete low-quality celestial spell." The true disciples are not a small matter. They're the symbol of the Heavenly Fates sect and the title of a direct disciple of the Heavenly Fates sect. Can you do well? The All-Seer's voice was filled with majesty. The surrounding cultivators didn't care, but Sword Saint Ling Tanho revealed a look of disdain and said, as if he was talking to himself, "True disciples of the Heavenly Fates sect." Humph. Kuan Pengzi knelt down in the air, kowtowed toward the All-Seer, and said, "Disciple will remember Master's words." The Tianyun nodded his head and pressed his right hand against the space between his eyebrows. Instantly, a ball of yellow light appeared on his face. Within the yellow light, The Tianyun's eyes were extremely bright. A moment later, a yellow crystal flew out from the space between his eyebrows and landed in his palm. I believe you aren't unfamiliar with this item. It is the symbol of the true disciples of the Heavenly Fate sect. Go in a closed-door cultivation for a few years and feel this item. When you come out, I'll give you another life-saving treasure. Kuan Pengzi took a deep breath and suppressed the excitement in his heart. Although he already knew that he was one of the true disciples of the Yellow Division, he still felt like he was dreaming. In truth, he knew that everyone in the Yellow Division was not weak, and they were all good at hiding their cultivation. Unless they truly fought, no one would be able to see their true cultivation level. Therefore, once they fought, Kuan Pengzi had no way of winning. The most important thing was that the Yellow Division had his senior apprentice brother, Yundaozi. Kuan Pengzi had followed Master for more than 2 years, but when he became Master's disciple, his senior apprentice brother was already there. He couldn't guess how long his senior apprentice brother had followed Master. However, although his senior apprentice brother was usually a bit eccentric and didn't want to interact with others, he was aloof from worldly affairs. He didn't even try to fight for the title of true disciple. Wang Lin silently watched from the side. His gaze lingered on Yun Daozi a lot. However, what really made Wang Lin feel a bit strange was that after Yun Daozi took out the yellow crystal, Yun Daozi's eyes shrank an undetectable amount. His calm expression suddenly collapsed and was replaced with a hint of fear. However, his eyes became calm once more as if nothing had happened. If it wasn't for the fact that Wang Lin had been watching, he wouldn't have noticed this detail. Perhaps because he had watched for a long time, Yun Daozi raised his head to look at him and revealed a faint smile. This smile is a bit strange. It is as if it has seen through everything. Next will be the time for the 7 disciples of the Heavenly Fate Purple Division. Wang Lin, Zhao Xinmeng, Bai Wei, are the 3 of you ready? Tian Yunzi's gaze landed on Wang Lin as he nodded his head. There was more. As I said, I'll give it my all. Up until now, I still owe 3 chapters. Although my dizziness is getting worse, I'll grit my teeth and write. Chapter 498. Bai Wei nodded and respectfully said, Disciple forfeits. 4th senior sister, Zhao Xinmeng, narrowed her eyes as she looked at Wang Lin and softly said, 7th brother, if I forfeit again, it will be too easy for you to obtain the title. Our battle will be today. The image of Yun Daozi's terrified gaze flashed through Wang Lin's mind, and his heart skipped a beat. A hint of hesitation appeared in his eyes. Disciple forfeits. Wang Lin took a deep breath and looked at Tian Yunzi. Tian Yunzi was stunned. This was the first time Wang Lin had seen such an expression on his face. Tian Yunzi frowned as he looked at Wang Lin and asked in a low voice, Why do you forfeit? The calm expression on Zhao Xinming's face disappeared, replaced by a strange expression. She looked at Wang Lin silently. The terrified gaze on Yun Daozi's face still lingered in Wang Lin's mind. After hearing Tian Yunzi's words, Wang Lin was silent for a moment before he said, Disciples' cultivation base is not high enough to compete with 4th senior sister. Wang Lin. Tian Yunzi interrupted Wang Lin. He gave him a deep look and said, Master hopes that you can compete once. My disciple does not want to be a coward. Don't be bewitched by others, and don't let your heart be filled with distracting thoughts. All you need to remember is to follow your heart. I will give you the time it takes half an incense stick to burn to think it over. If you still forfeit, I won't try to persuade you again. Tian Yunzi frowned. After he finished speaking, his gaze swept across the crowd and landed on the leader of the Yellow Division, Yun Daozi. His eyes flickered with a sinister light. When Yun Daozi sensed his master's gaze, his heart trembled, and he quickly lowered his head. When the disciples of the other 6 divisions heard Tian Yunzi's words, they all looked at Wang Lin. Most of their gazes were filled with astonishment, and they were re-evaluating him. As far as these people were concerned, it was extremely rare for their master to console them. Besides Sun Yun from the Purple Division, Wang Lin was the 2nd. Half the time it takes for an incense stick to burn slowly passed. Wang Lin's eyes flashed as he looked at Tian Yunzi. He cupped his fists respectfully and said, This disciple will snatch it once. Tian Yunzi's eyes were filled with gratification. He nodded and said, "All right." Zhao Ximing looked at Wang Lin and said softly, "Old 7, let's begin." As she spoke, her figure flashed, and her entire body seemed like a dancing phoenix, a dancing butterfly, and she retreated swiftly to open up a distance of over 100 m between her and Wang Lin. At the same time, her slender hand formed a seal before pointing forward. Immediately, dots of purple light appeared out of nowhere and circled around the woman's body. Wang Lin stared at those dots of light. On planet Tianyun, magical treasures weren't used much in battles. They were all spells. Although he hadn't battled many times, no matter who it was, they all used spells as their main attack. The dots of light circling Zhao Ximing suddenly gathered toward her finger as her right index finger moved. In the blink of an eye, her entire right hand was covered in a dense, purple light. Even her appearance was set off by the purple, giving her a strange feeling. "Old 7, you still don't know about Senior Sister's Tao. Today I'll tell you. My Tao is the demonic shadow Tao. As long as it isn't too high above my cultivation level, I only need to look at it once. Although I can't use it completely, I can more or less imitate it. This spell is something I created by imitating your demonic finger. I call it the Purple Demon Hand." With that, Zhao Ximing's right hand waved, and the purple light suddenly flew out from her hand. It whistled through the air toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he suddenly retreated. At the same time, he raised his right index finger, and the celestial spiritual energy in his body moved in the opposite direction. A purple spark suddenly appeared on the tip of Wang Lin's finger. The moment the spark appeared, a monstrous amount of devilish energy appeared and surrounded the area. "Is this child really someone who matches my Tao?" Back then, he left me a sentence. "My Tao is the Tao of the heavens. Only by finding someone who matches my Tao can I take the third step." Tian Yunzi's expression was neutral as he looked at Wang Lin's right index finger. "If this child really matches my Tao, then I, Tian Yunzi, will risk it all at once. Ever since I met him, I've failed countless times in the past 30,000 years. Most of my disciples have died. Am I doing this, the anchor?" Tian Yunzi looked at Wang Lin with a hint of melancholy in his eyes. "Demonic finger," Wang Lin muttered with a serious expression. The purple spark on his index finger suddenly left his hand and flashed forward, colliding with Zhao Ximing's purple demon hand. The purple star had completely merged into the purple light. A series of crackling sounds were immediately emitted from within it. At the same time, a strange change was continuously evolving within it. This change only lasted for a few breaths before it collapsed. A purple halo came out like crazy and turned into a monstrous demonic aura that scattered in all directions. The demonic aura inside the purple halo was several times stronger than the demonic aura inside Wang Lin's demonic finger. It was clear that it had gone through some mysterious change. Zhao Ximing immediately retreated. Her right hand slapped her bag of holding, and a bead appeared in her hand. She revealed a cunning expression and softly said, "Collect." As soon as these words were spoken, the spreading demonic energy in the surroundings suddenly came to a halt. Following that, the demonic energy rapidly swept toward the bead in Zhao Ximing's hand. In the blink of an eye, it was completely absorbed by the bead. The originally white bead was now completely black. It was as if there was a vengeful spirit inside it, and it gave off a cold aura. Zhao Ximing held the bead and smiled. "Old 7, Senior Sister won't fight with you for the title of true disciple of the heavenly Fate 7, but this demonic aura must belong to me." Wang Lin looked at the bead and said, "You created the purple demon hand to lure me into using the demonic finger to absorb the demonic aura inside, right? Senior Sister, if you had told me directly, perhaps I wouldn't have objected, but now it is impossible for you to obtain that demonic aura." The moment Wang Lin spoke, the demonic aura inside the bead in Zhao Ximing's hand disappeared as if it had never been there. The black bead quickly turned white. This demonic aura wasn't the true demonic aura, but an illusion created by Wang Lin's celestial spiritual energy. This way, he could destroy it with just a thought. This reversed celestial spiritual energy couldn't be given to others, or else they would be able to find a real method to cultivate the demonic finger. Wang Lin had promised Sidhu, Nan, that he wouldn't teach these 3 killing moves to others. Zhao Ximing's expression sank and her eyebrows furrowed. She looked at the bead in her hand and crushed it. She looked at Wang Lin and softly said, "Old 7, I only want a trace of your demonic aura. If you give it to me, I'll immediately give up." Otherwise, Wang Lin looked at Zhao Ximing. He had some history with this woman, but overall, they didn't owe each other anything. Hearing this, Wang Lin calmly said, "Fourth senior sister, I can't help you with this." Zhao Ximing looked at Wang Lin. After a while, she raised her right hand and said, 9 revolution, celestial refining art. As soon as she said those words, a vast golden light immediately gushed out from Zhao Ximing's body. At the same time, her face was also enveloped by the golden light, giving off a strange feeling. Her right hand looked like it was made of gold, emitting a golden glow. A wave of metal-attributed celestial spiritual energy slowly appeared on his right hand. It took the form of a golden vortex and slowly rotated on his right hand. 1 revolution, 2 revolutions, 3 revolutions, 4 revolutions, 5 revolutions, a total of 5 revolutions, before the golden vortex came to a stop and began to rotate in the opposite direction. Wang Lin's eyes flickered as he raised his left hand. The force of the 3rd revolution, golden, immortal realm, suddenly burst out and gathered on his palm. A similar vortex silently appeared on Wang Lin's left hand and slowly rotated. 1 revolution, 2 revolutions, 3 revolutions. Zhao Ximing's eyes flickered with astonishment. She had only given the 9 revolution celestial refining art to Wang Lin a few days ago, but he had managed to cultivate the force of the 3rd revolution in such a short period of time. This had completely exceeded her imagination. "Old 7, the force of the 3rd revolution is useless against me." Zhao Ximing withdrew the astonishment in her eyes and said calmly. Wang Lin's expression remained the same. The celestial force in his body suddenly moved. A strand of it flowed along his left hand and directly merged with the force of the 3rd revolution golden immortal realm. Suddenly, the force of the 3rd revolution shook violently and actually rotated once again. "Now it's the 4th revolution." As Wang Lin spoke, another strand of celestial force flew out of his body and frantically drilled into his left hand. The force of the 4th revolution, golden immortal realm, rotated once again. "Now it's the 5th revolution." Wang Lin's expression remained the same, but he was suffering great pain inside his body. The force of the golden immortal realm in his left hand was already somewhat out of control, but Wang Lin's mental fortitude was far beyond Zhao Ximing's imagination. After all, everything that Suzaku had experienced was something that a disciple of a famous sect like Zhao Ximing would never encounter in her life. At this moment, in Zhao Ximing's eyes, Wang Lin's expression was the same as usual, and his expression was calm. There was not the slightest hint of anything wrong. Wang Lin smiled, looked at Zhao Ximing, and said, "Do you want to see my 6th revolution golden immortal realm?" Zhao Ximing's face darkened. She looked at Wang Lin and said slowly, "Even if you really have the power of the 6th revolution, you are still no match for me." Wang Lin laughed and patted his storage pouch with his right hand. Suddenly, the giant Devil Clan's battle axe turned into a black light, flashed out, and directly floated in the void. At the same time, Wang Lin swung the beast trap on his wrist, and it fell to the side. With a bang, it turned into the god-slaying chariot. "With these 2 things, how about I fight you? I still have 2 chapters left. Alas, I really can't fill them up. Brothers, I thought I could do it, but the more I write, the more my mind is in a mess. Alas, I guess I won't be able to keep 3rd place this month. Forget it." Chapter 499. Zhao Ximing looked at Wang Lin. After pondering a bit, she suddenly revealed a smile and softly said, I still underestimated you. Seventh brother, senior sister forfeits. With that, Zhao Ximing moved back to where the purple division was floating. However, right at this moment, a purple ray of light suddenly whistled over from the distant horizon. The disciples of the other 6 divisions all looked at where the purple light was coming from. Many of them had strange expressions when they saw it. The Tian Yunzi's expression was neutral. He didn't even look at the purple light. He had his hands behind his back, and his expression was calm. The purple light closed in and suddenly stopped 1,000 feet away. The purple light dissipated, revealing the figure of a middle-aged man. His hair was white and his face was thin. He looked like a sharp sword that gave off a cold aura. This aura was very similar to that of Sword Saint Ling, Tianho's disciples. He was wearing a purple robe that was almost the same as Wang Lin, Bai Wei, and company. He stood there as he clasped his hands at Tian Yunzi and said, "Disciple Chun Tao greets teacher." "It's him." Bai Wei's eyes lit up, and he became suspicious. Fourth sister, Zhao Ximing, also stared at this person. For some reason, there was a flash of complex emotion in her eyes. The Purple Division's 6th disciple. Before Sun Yun, he was one of the true disciples. Rumor has it that this person has followed teacher for a long time. After he lost to Sun Yun, he left the Heavenly Fates sect and went to outer space to train. Waves of discussion came from the disciples of the other 6 divisions. Tian Yunzi's gaze fell on Chun Tao. There was a hint of admiration in his eyes, and he said, "It's good that you were able to rush back." Chun Tao's face was covered in dirt as he said, "I originally wouldn't have delayed, but when I passed by Blacking Planet, a treasure appeared there. I was delighted when I saw it, and I wanted to offer it to you, Master. That's why I delayed." All-Seer laughed and said, "What kind of treasure could catch your fancy?" Chun Tao's expression was neutral as he slapped his bag of holding and an item appeared in his hand. It was a flower with 6 leaves. The flower was white, but the 6 leaves were red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, a total of 6 colors. Under the contrast of the 6 colors, not only did the white flower not seem to be in a mess of colors, but it also seemed to have an otherworldly feeling. It was as if it was sublimated by the light of the 6 colors, making it even more enchanting. Chun Tao pushed the flower in his hand forward and said respectfully, "It is indeed this strange flower. I do not know much, so I cannot recognize just what this flower is. However, when I was in Blacking Planet, 3 high-grade arid beasts fought against each other with all their might to snatch this flower. I had to spend a lot of effort before I managed to snatch it away." The flower slowly flew towards Tian Yunzi and stopped in front of him. Tian Yunzi looked at the flower and pondered for a while before saying, "This flower is called the 7-colored glazed light. It takes 10 years to take root. It scatters its leaves in the west. It takes 1,000 years to light up, and it blooms once every 10,000 years. Every time it blooms, it only reveals 1 color until it blooms 6 times in a row. Only on the 7th time does it release a 7-colored light. This flower is loved by demonic beasts. If a demonic beast devours a 7-colored light, it will greatly benefit them. It can be considered a heavenly treasure. In the Cultivation Alliance, this flower is ranked 9th behind Shursan. Elder Son, is what the old man said correct?" As Tian Yunzi spoke, he looked at Elder Sunday. Elder Son faintly smiled and nodded. "That is correct. This is the 7-colored glazed light. However, it is still a bit lacking, so the 7th leaf hasn't appeared yet. However, with fellow Tian Yunzi's spell, it won't take long for all 7 leaves to appear." All-Seer raised his right hand, pinched the flower in front of him, and said with a smile. He smiled and said, "Good. Then teacher will accept this." Chun Tao's eyes lit up. He looked at Wang Lin and company from the Purple Division and calmly said, "My Purple Division's people are becoming fewer and fewer. Bai Wei, Zhao Ximing, how have you been?" Bai Wei's expression was a bit unnatural, and he didn't speak. As for Zhao Ximing, her eyes revealed a complicated expression. She let out a sigh and said, "I knew you would come back for teacher's 10,000-year birthday." Chun Tao looked at Zhao Ximing before moving his gaze away. He only glanced at Wang Lin for a bit before paying no more attention to him. "Where is Sun Yun?" Zhao Ximing let out a sigh and sent out a voice transmission. Chen Tao's expression suddenly changed, and he suddenly looked at Zhao Ximing. His gaze swept past Wang Lin, and he slowly said, "Your seventh brother? Tell me your name." "Wang Lin." Wang Lin's eyes were calm as he looked at this person. This Chen Tao didn't hide his cultivation. From the moment this person arrived, Wang Lin could vaguely see that this person's cultivation was beyond the soul transformation stage and should be at the ascendant stage. As for what stage of ascendant he was, Wang Lin couldn't see through it. "You are not worthy of being my seventh brother. My seventh brother is only Sun Yun." Chen Tao's gaze was calm as he moved his gaze away from Wang Lin. Tian Yunzi was still silently observing his disciple with a smile on his face. Chen Tao looked at Tian Yunzi and respectfully but firmly said, "Teacher, disciple came back this time to regain the title of true disciple. I hope teacher can help me." Tian Yunzi faintly smiled and said, "Within the purple division, only your seventh brother and you are qualified to be the true disciple. Between the two of you, there can only be one." Chen Tao revealed a hint of coldness and nodded. Without a word, he took a step forward and arrived before Wang Lin. His right hand moved several times faster than lightning and formed a seal that landed 10 feet before Wang Lin. There was a thunderous rumble, and Wang Lin's body quickly retreated. The giant demon clan's axe appeared before him to block the impact of the seal. At the same time, a bit of the golden celestial spiritual energy in Wang Lin's left hand was released. This allowed Wang Lin to stop after retreating a few hundred feet. His expression was gloomy as he stared at Chen Tao. He had been completely focused just now. The other party's seal wasn't an attack, but a deterrent effect. Although it landed in the void, the shockwave was enough to force Wang Lin's body back. This kind of power was not something Wang Lin could match. What Wang Lin didn't know was that Chen Tao was even more shocked in his heart. That spell he had just used was very powerful. Although it landed in the air, the shockwave was enough to send a mid-stage soul transformation brat flying more than 1,000 feet. As a result, he was able to shock Wang Lin and obtain the title of true disciple without having to do anything. However, this person was only pushed back a few hundred feet. This distance was obviously not enough to deter Wang Lin. Instead, it was as if Wang Lin was going to fight Wang Lin. "You forfeit." Chen Tao frowned as he coldly looked at Wang Lin and spoke in an unquestionable tone. Wang Lin looked at Chen Tao, and his eyes gradually became cold. This person's domineering nature was very obvious. Without a word, Wang Lin raised the fifth cycle golden celestial spiritual energy in his left hand and pushed forward. That fifth cycle golden celestial spiritual energy suddenly rotated and created a strange whistling sound. In the blink of an eye, it arrived before Chen Tao. Chen Tao looked at the fifth cycle golden celestial spiritual energy and softly said, "This spell isn't used like this." As he spoke, he pointed forward with his right hand. The vortex of golden celestial spiritual energy suddenly stopped moving and began to buzz in front of Chen Tao's right index finger. Chen Tao flicked the vortex with his right index finger. The golden celestial spiritual energy vortex came to a stop and slowly rotated once. Its power grew stronger as it had reached the sixth cycle. Chen Tao's index finger didn't stop. He flicked it 3 more times, and suddenly an aura that seemed capable of destroying heaven and earth erupted out from the gold immortal vortex. At this point, the gold immortal vortex had reached its limit of 9 revolutions. Chen Tao raised his head and glanced at Wang Lin disdainfully. He pressed his right hand forward, causing the golden celestial spiritual energy vortex to change its direction and fly toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression darkened. He immediately backed away and grabbed the battle axe with his right hand. He leapt into the air and slashed down. A series of thunderous rumbles followed as a 10-zhong-long axe glow was fired from the battle axe. It flew straight at the golden celestial spiritual energy vortex. As the axe glow flickered, The golden celestial spiritual energy slightly slowed down, but it was still heading straight for Wang Lin. Wang Lin did not panic in the face of danger. He raised his right hand and drew a line in the air. A silver light immediately enveloped the golden celestial spiritual energy. At the same time, Wang Lin executed the teleportation technique. However, his target was not himself, but the golden celestial spiritual energy. One teleportation spell after another appeared in Wang Lin's hand. In almost the blink of an eye, he completed all of this and softly said, "Greater teleportation." As soon as the words left his mouth, the golden celestial spiritual energy was only 3 zhang away from Wang Lin. A destructive aura swept across Wang Lin's body, but he did not panic at all. The golden celestial spiritual energy continued to charge toward Wang Lin, but when it was only 1 zhang away from him, the silver celestial spiritual energy around it flickered violently. In the end, it disappeared right in front of Wang Lin, as if it was never there in the first place. This caused the eyes of the surrounding cultivators to narrow. A hint of admiration flashed across Tian Yunzi's eyes as he nodded slightly. Shun Tao's eyes flickered. He no longer looked down on Wang Lin as much as before. All of this happened in an extremely short amount of time. The moment the golden celestial spiritual energy disappeared, Wang Lin put away his battle axe and formed a seal with his right hand. He pointed at the god-slaying war chariot and shouted, "Spirit beast, appear!" Shen Tao had only glanced at the god-slaying war chariot before, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Now that he turned around and looked at the war chariot, he saw an unyielding aura soaring into the sky. At the same time, the giant spirit beast appeared and let out a violent roar. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.